Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to Morning Brew. Whenever you're listening, I hope you're having a good one. Today I have been listening to, well, first of all, I made the mistake of checking Twitter. Stupid mistake. I was looking for DMs. I just ended up getting caught up in some of the crap, and it's like, wonderful. Yes, we've got idiocy in the world. It's been confirmed. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on Bird because he's backstage.
Hello, world. It's Birdo Pray 5. Kapla. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I tell you, 8.5 hours of restful sleep do wonders. Do wonders.
It's good to hear.
Although now that I'm waking up, I do remember Sis O'Prey and Nephew O'Prey walking by a few times in the middle of the night.
Yes.
But I guess I got back to sleep easily enough.
Good.
We are doing well. Thank you all. I'm sorry I missed everyone at Jep Nerdy last night, but I was just way too tired to even attempt to get up and go. We had fallen asleep at least an hour before Salty started. Mama Bray was, in fact, asleep an hour before that. I wake her before I got to sleep. So, but we're good this morning.
Good.
Thank you.
So no incidents at least. That's good to hear.
And Charlie seems to be doing okay. His medicine, I guess, is helping his ears. So he's been very pleasant this morning.
Good. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah.
Nice, peaceful, calm house. Oh, it's unfortunate that my well, I remember when yesterday Siso Prey was going to put the icing in your face. So
No, that's right. You know what? I still owe you for that. I was gonna do something. Maybe I'll end your stream. Yeah, that'd be fun. Just came in suddenly, people. It was Kuroga's Revenge.
Oh, Kuroga's Revenge. I like that. Let's see here now. And Carlos says, hi, hope everyone is as well as can be. Hail on Kuroga. And first in chat. Liked. Cool. 47 Yorktown. Greetings from Eastern Canada. Shared. One of them, I think. Cool. Yeah, but Jim, I'm a doctor, not a spell checker. Well, hey. Tea Earl Grey, 2 lumps. Couldn't be British, could he?
Revenge is mine.
And good morning, Channel 66. How are you? Well, I know you mean hail on Kuroga. I understand that, Carlo.
Hail, Kuroga.
And good morning, Dave G Sound. How are you? Oh, yes, I'm a jerk. I know. You know, sometimes it's fun. Come on. I mean, it's got its certain benefits. So, let's see here. I can't believe it is already December 4th.
It's T-1 day to Cecil Gray's birthday.
Yes, it is. Any plans for her birthday?
No, she's actually leaving. She'd be with her friends. I mean, she's going to do something with her friends. So
Good. Hopefully she has fun doing it.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I have to send her her birthday gift.
Anything in particular you're sending her, or just?
Well, the gift that lets her choose whatever gift she wants. Cash.
Cool.
As a mother and homeowner and whatnot, not owner, but home renter and whatnot, she can figure out the best way to use it.
Of course. Let's see here. I'm betting there's a 50% chance that all or most of it goes on Charlie.
That is a possibility. But if that's the way she wants to spend it, then that is the way she wants to spend it.
Whatever makes her happy is the best thing to do, because obviously she'll be celebrating her birthday. You're funny. You're funny, Carlo. Oh, 54.5 Access Radio. Nose frosting for Bird.
Yeah. Too much.
And sorry, bad joke. Please don't ban me, Captain Trek. Of course not. Of course not. No, please. I've only been a few people I've had to ban, and they were posting some really horrible.
You can't get halfway. Let me wipe your hands. We gotta wipe your hands.
Opinions are not bad. It's just, when you're trying to post things that are even against YouTube rules, it's like, yeah, bye. Ban. Other than that, nah, even if I disagree with you all. I have Yosef on all the time whenever he's available, and I disagree with him. I disagree with Bert all the time. He's here.
Nose frosting for Bird.
Uh-huh. Yeah, putting frosting on her hand and smushing it in your face, in your nose. Yeah.
Carlo, absolutely. In fact, it's shit. Remember, she wasn't eating mac and cheese. She was eating shit.
Correct.
As Admiral Vance enlightened us.
That's correct. Yeah, not bad for shit, is it? So, we just need to figure out a way to change the molecular structure of fecal matter. And hey, we could have what would be something? Steak tartare. Why not? Beef tartare. Yeah. What's the plan for today? Well, not only do I let Bert on, he actually has access so he can come on when he wants to. Which may or may not be a good idea, but hey.
JG Sound says there are no stupid questions. However, there are a lot of inquisitive idiots. I like to say there are no stupid questions, only stupid people with questions.
Oh, no, there are stupid questions. Believe it or not, there are stupid questions.
Only stupid people with questions.
You see,
an
honest question is not a stupid question. People who are just asking questions to ask, yeah. Like, I don't know. I can't think of anything that will bring up some bullshit. But, if you're honestly wanting to know, ask. That's fine. But if it's not going to be something I can answer, yeah. And I can't answer it. No, that's stupid. No. Now, if you want to address Bird with it, that's fine. I don't care. Really? Serious note. I wonder if
it might be that it's from giving birth twice, but as an actress, as a professional, her one job is to keep her body looking like it did the year before. That is like a point of your job. Okay, good actors look the same year to year. It's one of the only things you have to be able to do is look consistent.
Shouldn't be able to tell what
what season you're on
mhm.
by the width of a person. Now, granted, over 20 or 30 years, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But over 3 years, that's another.
Well, let's see here. I would call them clear. I have clear socks on. Oh, that's right. I have nothing on my feet. I don't usually wear socks unless I have to. That's just weird, maybe, but if I'm going out, of course, I'll put something on, but you know. And usually when I do, they're white. Why? Because they're the easiest to wash. All I have to do is turn it on hot. Then no matter how dirty or smelly or whatever, they're fine. Well, JG Sound found that humorous. Okay, Carlos says there's a woman at work that went from a size 0 to Tilly squared. The pregnancy damaged some organs and boom. And good morning, Mr. Grant Gregory. How are you this morning?
Captain,
Yes.
Mama Prey has something she needs to tell the community.
Yes. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
I don't know what you guys have been teaching Nephew of Prey, but he's sitting in his high chair and he has a toy phone, like a cell phone.
Mhm.
And all he's doing is pressing the number 9 and saying, 9, 9. So I gotta wonder what you guys have been teaching him. I don't think it's a nice thing. Other than that, good morning, and I've got to go take care of Nephew of Prey.
Thank you, Mama Prey.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever's teaching Nephew of Prey to say 9, please stop.
That would be you, Bird.
Hashtag Charlie did nothing wrong, it says. 54.5 Access Radio. 9. Maybe he's trying to call 999. Maybe he's a reborn European baby. How often does he shower?
As often as Sisyphus gives him a bath. Yes.
No, Mama Prey emoji is not telling you off.
I'm asking what you guys teaching.
Mama Prey would not do that.
Sure, let's go on the computer where nobody's looking.
9. Yes.
Oh.
Charlie's Colorful City. It's a new show. Charlie's Colorful City.
Yeah. Oh, Mama emoji. Oh,
Like, you get to Charlie it
is it funny though? Well, it would be nice if we had
Nobody
the Mama
wanted to see.
emoji available. You know, we're not on Bird's channel, so there is no there are no special emojis. Yeah. Yeah. And probably aren't going to be for a long time, thank God. Really? God damn it. No, this time it's my fault. I had actually unplugged my computer, and I realized that
We heard you the entire
left it
time.
unplugged. No, the warning came up that the power was low.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
10%. So it's like, gotta plug it in. I was actually going in before I made coffee and had something to eat, and I was listening to music, and so I had it unplugged for a while. And I came back in here, started things up. I thought I'd already plugged it back in. I hadn't, so yeah. Well, let's see what Carlo has to say.
Yeah, let's see anything. I'll be right with
Mm-hmm.
So pray emoji coming soon. And the train. Low power, use auxiliary power. Yeah, in a laptop there is no auxiliary power. Emergency power. Well, exactly. That's why that's why it has a warning on it to let me know I need to plug in like now. But I had no, I'd been listening to Christmas music. It's just like
Got to have more power.
I think you would like it, at least part of it.
I think Sassy should be the emergency backup power. I have like a giant hamster wheel attached to my wall. If power levels get low, the light starts blinking and a treat gets loaded. And then Sassy smells the treat and starts going in the hamster wheel, trying to get the treat, and starts the electricity. And then boom, backup power. And every once in a while it releases a treat and another one loads. She keeps running. That's perfect. Unlimited power.
I really ought to start clipping these from the stream. Right there, I would have automatic content. Yeah.
John Grammaticus. Wow. That's quite the name.
Yes, it is.
Like afraid to use punctuation in his presence. Says, get a UPS battery backup. No, we have a Beagle battery backup. That's BBB. That's awesome. Captain, trademark BBB, Beagle battery backup.
I thought BBB was your sister.
Listen, that's why you gotta get the trademark quickly. I have no idea why she chose BBB. Nothing to do with anything I've ever heard her use. That's probably why.
Well, it doesn't make any sense because I would. Never mind.
Charlie?
No, no, he did not. Said we needed to hurry and get the letters BBB trademarked. But those just also happen to be the letters that are used by her on when she signs in to chat. So maybe she had Beagle battery backup in mind. You never know. You could always ask. What is Sisopray doing anyhow?
Sisopray is the smartest of us all. She's still sleeping.
Then yes. She is the smartest of you all there. Well, no, Mama Prey is, but she's awake. Charlie, you can give an excuse because he's young. Bird, no. Nah, sorry, you don't have an excuse. Well, other than the fact you already slept 8 hours, so you went to bed early. And Alexander is in the chat. No, I didn't forget you again. I ended up going to
Happy
sleep early.
congratulations.
And yes, congratulations.
You married now.
Yes.
Sorry.
And greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Good morning, Mike Richards. I would like to ask that question myself. That's why I asked if what Sisopray was doing. Carlos says, Charlie is the alarm clock, right?
Yeah. Stand up.
Of course, Carlos says congratulations. And when do we get to see the wedding video?
It's home.
I wasn't planning on asking. I just figured it was a typo. I figured you were just typing and then it happens. I don't know if you're on a computer or on a phone right now or a tablet, whatever. Smaller devices makes it a little more easy to make a typo.
Could you check the chat backstage, Cap?
Yes, I did. And yes, I do. Heck, you might as well post it in the chat. Phone. Secrets. Secrets. Okay. Ooh, we love secrets.
And I have posted the link to join the panel in the chat. If anybody would like to come on up this Saturday morning, say hello, step into my office. Here at one Captain Track Away.
What? Oh my God. Carla, what are you talking about? Oh, Lord. No one knows it, but you've got a secret smile and you only use it for me. I'm guessing it's for Bird. And
well, I'm pretty sure they means it for you.
Okay. And let's see here. It's Russia, so it would probably be good evening to you. Or I say Russia, but it's evening over there, wherever the hell he is. Or she. I don't know. Hello and welcome again. I think you're the same one. And yes, Sunday. Bird of Prey 5 might eat the out-of-date spam. Mom will pray safe for him when he reviews The Twilight Zone.
I missed The Twilight Zone. Taking that week off really changed up my schedule.
It's a song. Okay. Sorry, I don't
Maybe
know.
We should do double Twilight Zone. No, I got a question of track.
Yeah, who cares? You know. They can wait. They can take the week off. How about that? No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I have to see how many episodes we have left for season 2. I'd rather end if we're one short. I'd rather add an extra episode. Maybe I'll add it to this. Actually, I already did the video conversion, so it wouldn't be this week. Did I do the video conversion? Let's see. I forgot.
Double Sunday Twilight Zone? No.
Let's see. We have 29 episodes. So, hey, we got somebody.
Hey! Yes, we do. So, what is it like being married, Alexander?
That's great. It's looked like yesterday, but waiting for a legal paper. No, it was great. I mean, Muzel was really, really, really happy. She danced a lot. No, she was really enthusiastic.
You had it on the beach?
Yes, we were on the beach. It was great.
Awesome. Congrats.
On Monday. Also, we get a meal to the restaurant, and we had he said I would have lobsters. Yeah. Finally, I saw the lobsters as no arms, so it was langoust in fact. You know what it is. That's looked like a lobster, but it has no arm. Like a lobster are in cold water. So I was
Ah,
surprised that they had lobster here. They don't have lobsters. This is a langoust. It's another. It's
Right.
funny.
Yeah, they don't have the claws.
Yeah, they don't have the claws. It's look similar, but this is really tasty. I mean,
Is it called langoustine?
it's something like that. I was
Yeah.
surprised because I tried to translate to explain to my wife what it was, that it was not lobster. But the problem is, in French, lobster is homard, and in Russian too, it's homard. So it's really easy. So I tried to search langoustine in Russian. Let's look that Russian don't have any name for the langoustine. It's still homard. So the two of them are homard. So it was a little bit mixed up, complicated.
It's close enough.
Yes, it's close enough. But it's not the same inside. It's not tasting the same. The texture is different, but it's really tasty.
Yeah, they're both very good.
Yes. So thank you, Richard Poole. Thank you, Carlo Albanese. Thank you, everyone. I'll watch the commentaries.
I'm just glad that you and your wife enjoyed your wedding.
Yes. Carlo Albanese, there are no Momo here. We are in a no Momo land here. We are protected against them.
Cuba does not allow Momo in
No,
its territorial waters.
yes, it cannot swim to us. That's a good thing. It's one of the reasons why we choose it. We choose Cuba to be protected from Momo the Challenger. I didn't want that in the middle of the wedding. He arrived, he landed, and he challenged us. That's really unpleasant. So my girlfriend now is in the shower. My wife, my wife officially, is in the shower. I don't know when she will go out. So we need to go eat because the buffet is closing at 9:30. Yesterday when she dressed, I mean, we had a lot of hairspray, so she will work on her hairs for a long time to remove that. So I will live, but Captain someone nickname you Captain Jerk, I don't know. It's look that this is your new name. Don't know who did that. You should look. You should look at the.
No,
Yes.
no, Alexander Ixnay.
You should look at that. But don't forget to write me on private message on Twitter.
Absolutely.
I think you forgot me yesterday. Don't do that again. And I will leave. I'll let you. Maybe we'll talk again. I'm here in Cuba until the 8th. So there are open line on from Berto Prey on 7th. So I'll be there for a longer time than now because it's still soon here at 7:40. So have a great day. Have a great day, friends. Okay.
Absolutely. You have a great
Take
day.
care.
Enjoy
Take
your
care.
being married.
Bye bye. Yes, I'm really glad of it. She's coming now. I need to close.
Yes.
I thought we were going to get to see a peek of her. I saw the shadow coming on the screen. I was
It could have been another Ciso Prey moment.
well, come on. They're married now. Would have been a lot better.
Oh, and good afternoon, Yitza. How are you today?
Well, I never thought we would have seen it happen.
No.
The day has happened. Alexander is married. Now I just got to get her into Canada or Quebec.
Now, if you talk to some people from Quebec. It is Canada. Talk to Alexander. It's not. So, you know. And gives the rest of us hope. Not really. Yeah. But it gives a lot of people hope. I'll say that. There are a lot of people that it should give hope to. I'm not one of them, but that's a long, long story, and I'm not getting into it on the fucking live stream. Unless we're taking it on members only stream. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have members yet because I have 520 subscribers and I would need a lot more for
But
that.
you do have patrons.
This is true. I do. I do have two patrons.
Could always
I'm
do
going-
a patron only live stream.
Oh, that's true. I could. But it would just be the three of us because that would be kind of. I mean, it would be fun. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know when the other person would be available to.
I don't even know who the other person is. So
the other person is
you don't
old
have,
media
you
guy.
don't have to rat him out.
I don't care. Kind enough to be a patron. I mean, it's at the dollar level. That's the level I set, and that's, you know, hey, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Gage would probably insist on seeing the marriage certificate. Well, that would be nice to see, but, you know. Richie Poole says, marriage, been there, done that. I can say this. I haven't been there. Not really going to happen. So, yeah. No. Carlos says, I thought he was pretending that we were the wedding service online. They didn't kiss. Well, you never know. You never know. We could see them kiss. You know. You know what? I know. I have a perfect idea. We could have a wedding ceremony reenactment, and Bird of Prey 5 could officiate.
By the power vested in me as God Emperor of Kuroga, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Agreed. See?
That's an act of, that's a legit. If any of you were standing with a woman or a bride, doesn't matter of gender, and was holding their hand, you're married now. So I will also offer the divorce decree in case you were accidentally married.
wants
By
to do it.
me, power vested in me through Kuroga. I now pronounce you officially single again. May God have mercy on your soul.
I think he's been practicing that. Probably. You never know. So, It's Saturday morning. Of course, Resolute Germ is going to be having his Saturday morning cartoons on later. Are you going to be streaming later today, Bird?
I don't know.
Okay. He may or may not. Oh, Lord. Really? Really, Richie? Oh, that's 54.5 is even worse. Oh, Lord. Does it, Bird? Does it count? Bird is silent on this. Wow. My cat was
Sorry,
here.
Cap, taking the pill.
No problem. So 54.5 Access Radio says, I was holding myself when you were saying that. Does that count? Is he married to himself? And of course, Richie Poole says, my cat was here with me. You didn't marry me to my cat, did you? Well, Richie, you weren't saying that to your cat, I hope. And if so, I hope your cat wasn't saying it back to you, because that would be... Carlos says, I feel sad now. Well, don't be sad. It's Saturday. Saturday, not Saturday. Any jokes? Guess not. No, we haven't had the jokesters on the stream this morning. And no Richie Poole. Bird did not fall asleep. He had a nice 8 hours of sleep. So he is taking medicine and...
8.5.
Oh, I'm sorry. 8
okay.
and a half.
As for this, Richie Poole, your cat. It depends, Richie. If it's legal to marry a pet in where you are, then yes, you were briefly married. If you're not legal to marry a pet, then you're not. That's why I went right ahead and divorced everybody.
Sleepy O'Prey makes up the best fake chats better than we can. And that's an absolute no. 54.5 Access Radio. We're not going to ban 54.5 Access Radio. That would be bad. Now, what is so close to 9, Carlo? That just Oh, 8.5. Yes. Okay. And Richie Poole really hates Bird. Richie Poole says, Cinema Saturday. Hey, this would be a good day for Bird of Prey 5 to watch Crystal Skull again. So I'm guessing that 54, Richie Poole, sorry, I almost blamed you, 54.5. I'm guessing that Richie Poole is planning on donating a wad of money to Bird of Prey 5. He's going to make that joke. It'll take Bird a while to render that. So, yeah, I'd say at least $100. Really? Crystal Skull forever? Crystal Skull for Bird. Do you really all hate Bird that much? I mean, come on. Let's if you're going to make anybody suffer, why not Salty?
Remember, Salty Tracker loves talking about Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That'll shut down streams fast. No, I'm not even going to suggest that. That's just mean. I'm not even that mean.
That might be crossing a line.
Let's see here now. Oh, Richie Poole says Burrow Prey 5 loves Crystal Skull. He will pay me to watch it again. What's a salty and where is Rabid Slug? Well, Rabid Slug ouchies is most likely asleep now. Same with Kronos.
You think Rabid Slug Ouchies is sleeping with Kronos?
I would say that they are in the same bed. Yes.
You know, Cap, you just blew my mind. Because I bet you're right.
It was funny being in, I don't remember what stream it was. It was obviously not one that, like, it wasn't yours. Because I have fun. Yeah, when Kronos shows up as Rabid Slug ouchies, and it's just like, fuck that. I'm just saying Kronos. But he showed up in a chat, made a comment, and so I wasn't sure if the person knew who Rabid Slug Ouchies was. So I basically said to them, say hi to Kronos. I included both the channel owner's name and Rabid Slug Ouchies in that. So it was highlighted for both of them. And just want to make sure because people may not necessarily know. And yes, Kronos is easier to type, particularly if you are on a phone or tablet that doesn't have the autocomplete. So, one of these days, Kronos is going to forget, and he's going to have something, either the mic or camera connected. He'll have it off, but he'll have it connected. And then I'll be able to add him into the stream, and then people are going to be surprised. But just got to wait for that. So let's see here. It is Saturday. Anybody have any big weekend plans other than YouTube, of course? Because there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. hell, you could almost plan your day around it most of the time. Now I was talking to somebody about coming on for the Christmas stream. Of course, it's unlikely, but it's possible. I'm going to still work on it. Have a few people, special people, come on that don't usually come on here. Let's see here now. And Carlo is saying, Kronos, Kronos, Kronos. I think he's asleep. So, yeah. Richard Poole says, I may binge watch season 3 of Lost in Space this weekend. Cool. I haven't seen any of it.
Season 3 coming out this weekend? Is it out already?
Apparently.
I didn't realize. It gives me something to do.
And
Not that I
good,
was looking for anything to do, but
good afternoon, Dr. Alex. How are you? Things are well for me.
Yitza finished it yesterday.
Yes, working on my nights off, but only doing half shifts. Damn. And you're welcome, Dr. Alex. As I said, I was going to. You're the second person I've actually changed the schedule I'd set up for. Well, technically third, but whatever. Let's see here. Oh, with my son, he's playing on the computer. Okay, Yitza finished it yesterday. Yes, she says it's already out on Netflix. We have a problem. Cue adventure music. Find a solution. More music. Problem solved. Yay. More music. Rinse, repeat, and you have Lost in Space. And the reason to watch is what? Currently trapped cleaning and cooking. But I'll see if I can break free and pop in. Well, what are you cooking? And the problem is usually solved by Maureen Robinson. Well, I don't like the fact that they have one character solving all the problems. It should be, each person having their expertise. Yes, I know you're talking about the remake. Please say food. What about food? And good morning, Scott Getman. Nothing says lovin' like something from the oven. helping make soup a la, I don't know, with my co-star. Cool. And Richie, they changed it up a bit for season 3 and having all the female kids solve it. No spoilers. And good morning, Professor Brainy Specs. Are you working today? And the original Lost in Space, Maureen was more or less just a housewife. And yes, Robbie the robot was a more likable character. I would agree with you. Let's see here. In the new Lost in Space, she is a problem-solving scientist. Yes, and he's running late today. Well, you can't do that, Professor. You don't want to be late for work. It says she's also a bitch. Well, if you remember in the original, she was always a little bit sassy, so that doesn't. They just turned it up to 11.
Hey, Cap, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be
Yes.
a while.
No problem.
So I'm going to jump off for now. I'll listen
All
for a
right.
bit, and if I can, I'll be back.
Awesome.
Okay, take care. Sorry.
No problem.
Kapla.
Kapla. And let's see here. You have the latitude to be sarcastic as hell. You know, it's funny. I had some stuff in mind before Bird popped in backstage, and it was just right before going live. So, of course, that just went out the window because I didn't want to leave him there for God knows how long. So usually I'm on for well, I'd say at least 15 minutes before anybody comes on. But today was just kind of different. So yeah, like I said, I was listening to Christmas music before coming on here. Checked Twitter. That was a mistake. So when I checked for Christmas music on here, the first stuff that comes up is the new garbage. And when I say garbage, I mean, yeah, it's all synthetic and auto-tune garbage. I just don't like it. That's just me. I know. I'm old. I'm cranky. Whatever. I'm opinionated. Let's see. Scott Getman says the first season of Lost in Space had better characters, but they dumbed it down hard for season 2. That's not smart. Yes, Richie Poole, I am now dumber for having checked Twitter. I am. Because I realized by checking Twitter, seeing how utterly stupid people are. In fact, there was a story that's going around about a 15-year-old who was involved in a school shooting that killed 4 and injured others. Of course, the parents of this 15-year-old bought him a semi-automatic gun. Now, why would you buy a 15-year-old who is, well, apparently not completely capable of handling a weapon? That's all I'm going to say. And they were even questioning his behavior. A gun. It's just, I'm sorry. Stupid. Stupid people doing stupid things. And of course, they are now prosecuting the parents of the 15-year-old for, what was it? Negligent. I don't remember what the hell it was, but anyhow. Oh, Lord. And yes, the parents are arrested. They have been arrested. And now we're going to have some fun with Rosetta.
I don't have the energy to be in any trouble.
And yes, they caught them after running. Well, yeah, they were kind of cowards. You're
Yeah,
right.
I was looking at the stuff with those parents. There's too much that they knew and they didn't stop the kid.
Yeah.
When there's physical evidence of them even messaging the kid saying, "Oh, don't do it" and stuff, it's like you're already caught. I'm sorry. If you know your kid's going to try to do something like that, you freaking restrain them until the police can get there.
And of course, the father apparently ran back home to check to see if the gun that was used was at home. And of course, it wasn't because it was there. Why you would buy a 15-year-old a gun like that? Yeah. No. Dumb idea.
I know a lot of kids who've had guns, but they've had them, with parents that were responsible with them. They had them with hunting. Their parents didn't let them have them just carry them around for any reason, stuff like that. It was responsible, Because, yeah, my family, I was out hunting and shooting with people as a little kid, but they were careful about it. They didn't just let the kids just wander with a gun or act crazy or insane or psycho.
Hey. Hey, what's going on today? How are you?
Not too bad.
I don't know if I know him.
Huh?
Hey, yeah, I haven't been on when you've been on yet. And
Nice
normally
to
I'm
meet
only
you.
on. Hey, good to meet you. I'm normally only on Salty's streams.
What do you want, Orly?
So yeah, I caught your monologue there, Cap, and absolutely, I there's a lot of really stupid laws about guns in Canada that I think are completely ridiculous. But one of the smartest things is that effectively anyone under the age of 18 cannot own a firearm.
Yeah, I'm too much a mountain girl. I don't find that necessarily smart because most kids are not going to cause trouble as long as you do it correctly. The problem is that these parents were absolutely fucking psycho.
Well,
and so was
clearly,
the
kid. Yeah, and
But again, I grew up in the mountains. I grew up with a tribal family. I grew up very rural. most of my family was armed by the time we were a preteen. I was out shooting crossbows, and arrows and guns as a kid.
I live in the second highest ownership of firearms to people in the countries. So, like as far as the provinces go. So yeah, I mean, I've been around guns, even though I didn't own any until more recently. I've been around guns my whole life, and so it's not like it's a big deal for me. But from a controlling things perspective, like, we don't give cars to kids until they're effectively 17, because yes, legally you can drive at 16, but that's typically your learner's permit, and then you don't get past that, especially in areas with graduated licenses. You don't get to drive on your own for at least a solid year. So yeah, I mean, like anything like
You're
that.
using driving as an example, and I grew up in the only state where you get a driver's license at 14.
Yeah.
Nice. But no, I don't know about criminal charges against the parents. I think at the absolute least, civil charges against the parents should be brought. I mean, they mostly for the fact that even if you nail them on some enormous amount of money, what it starts to do is send a message to parents that you can't be absentee. You have to actually parent your damn kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the first things I did once I started owning firearms is I made sure my son knew exactly what the deal was, what the rules were, because one existed in the house, and he was only 9 at the time. So, he went to the range with me. He became accustomed to mine and other of my friends' firearms. Like, yes, these things are very enjoyable, and you can have lots of fun at the range. And if you want to go hunt, you can go hunt.
Yeah,
but they are
my
to be
family,
respected.
it's all poverty. So weapons with us is, we don't get me wrong, kids like using weapons as a general when they get to use them. But
from slingshots and up, right?
Our family, the reason why all the kids had them, the reason why we were always all doing this. I grew up in extreme poverty. On the tribal side, my family is on Pine Ridge, Rosebud, and Standing Rock reservations, which are the poorest reservations in the nation. They're third world. So hunting is how we fed our families. I was 4 the first time my mom had me help her butcher a deer. So
I wasn't in poverty necessarily, but I was born in Labrador. You know where Labrador is, right?
A bit. It's early, so my brain's a little foggy.
If you go much further north, you cross the Arctic Circle. So no, that's cold, Cap. We've had snow in July. So anyway, my point of bringing that up. What Scott is saying
is true there. Most of the reservations are third world. It's actually about 5% of them are actually the ones everyone thinks of that are like better off or have good casinos and stuff like that. It's only about 5% of the reses actually.
Oh yeah, and that's why I brought up being up there in the north was one of the things that was very common was that everybody hunted whatever, whether it was they would go out on the ice and hunt seal in the winter, or they would hunt caribou and deer when it was appropriate to do so. And if you left the area where I lived when I was a kid up there, you saw the quality of life fall off fast. So firearms within any of the, I don't even know what to say it anymore. It pisses me off that I don't know how to choose my own language on it anymore. But the natives, because up there I was around Innu and what people would call Indian. So I was around
the
everybody.
thing is that if people in this freaking world knew how to use the word native correctly, it is a good word to be more descriptive and help people know which Indian you're talking about, because native is supposed to be the homeland of the people or the first people that were known to live on that land. But now people use it as, I was born there. It's like, that's not what native means, darling.
Yeah. But
what it means. But you talk on the tribes, almost nobody gives a crap about the word Indian. Most of us use it on each other. Hell, my mom and dad call each other snowflake and teepee creeper, and they called me their snowflake teepee creeper. So To be fair, I mean, I'm paler than my Celtic mother, and I'm significantly Sioux, Cherokee, and Spanish because I have a type of albinism. So I'm actually significantly paler than both parents as a mixed race kid.
Yeah, well, pigment can jump too, and that's what's really funny sometimes.
And I agree. I agree, Richie. I agree with you.
Yeah, the only comment I'll make on the criminal charges is because the rules are different in each state. I'd have to know what the deal is in that state. It may be very applicable to put criminal, but they should absolutely pursue civil charges.
There are a few things in that case where they can go after some federal criminal charges on those parents. Now, again, they can't go after much unless there's more state ones they can go after them for, but there are a few at least that they can get with.
Yeah.
This cat's going to drive me nuts. She's just pacing back and forth, rubbing on every part of me. She's like, I want attention. How dare you talk to them and not me?
Yeah. And yes, Arabic, I'm gonna play your coffee clip. Don't worry.
You're gonna make me become an addict of that coffee clip. I love it.
Oh, let's see here. There are a few who do, a few who don't. But
listen to me very carefully, because I'm only going to say this once. Coffee, black.
Coffee, black. While I've got your attention, there are
coffee first. Well, this mentor would like another cup of coffee. I'm just gonna have to give up coffee. Want some coffee?
If I'm not mistaken, that's your third cup this morning.
Fourth, and on a day like today, it won't be my last. Coffee. The finest organic suspension ever devised. Commander, set a new course. There's coffee in that nebula.
Mm-hmm. What was funny the first time you played that was that it made me realize just how off she went on about coffee.
Oh, yes.
I think I've watched all of the episodes of Voyager.
I've been trying to find the video again this year. Somebody decided to do a Star Trek remix of All I Want for Christmas, and every time she'd do the Is You, it was pieced in with tea, Earl Grey hot. And it was Picard's search for his tea. And at one point, they actually used the scenes of one episode where the replicators went out of line with parts of First Contact to have him order his tea, it go, replicators offline, and then his screaming tantrum in First Contact. It was fucking amazing.
Of things from Voyager, did you ever see the one where they did the how many photon torpedoes?
Oh, God. Yep.
Yeah, there's like this one point where it crosses the threshold and it's like, and now more. Where they shot everything they had, and then it's like, oh, magic, we have more. It's like the shuttles. We just have an infinite supply.
That was part of my problem with Voyager, is they didn't really show it much. Most of the time, it was no matter how much the ship was blown up, the next episode could even talk about being the next star date, and they would be fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I am so sorry. I took my hand off you for half a second.
But what's funny, though, is that almost addresses the one deliberate limitation that was always put into Star Trek storytelling, which is that with replicators, there's just no limit. Like, there's no, like, everyone goes on about, I'm about to slag on the Borg, and the Borg are one of my favorite villains in all sci-fi. But once you have replicator technology, nothing is a limit at that point. Like, you could have infinite whatever, anything, and so fixing your ship would be instantly easy, and having as many whatevers, shuttles, torpedoes, basically everything should just be available at all times in practically all quantities. And I mean, I remember reading, I think it was like a comment from Sternbach in the 1701D book, something about the fact that they had to make limits on it because otherwise fleet yards like Utopia Planitia would just be a giant replicator and they'd just be pooping out ships at will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things is my husband actually found this news article he was reading to me the other day where they're actually trying to develop nanobots that can control and alter and fix things in bodies and DNA, and they've actually found that the ones they've developed are self-replicating even though they weren't programmed to.
I saw that article.
And it's like, and this is how the Borg began. I guess we're going to be the homeland.
Yeah.
Because that's like, warning, destroy them, please.
Yeah. Well, everyone talks about AI this and AI that. And, you know, being a systems programmer, application developer, I could tell you one thing. AI, in the sense that everyone always thinks along the lines of, you know, I can't do that, Dave, or the big one, the Matrix. That's just fundamentally, unless there's some kind of paradigm shift, that's just not even happening, because full-on general AI means that it has to have the ability to actually reprogram itself. When you could do that, just like the whole idea on self-replication without intervention, that's run or hit it with like the biggest EMP you can find.
That's what I'm worried about, is that these things can self-replicate. These things are embedding themselves in genetics for healing and for all this other stuff. That's where the easiest way for those minds that are independent to be created is them to end up blended with somebody and pick up part of their mind.
Yeah, it's those unintended consequences issues that become the biggest problems.
My husband was very reading that, very concerned. It's like, well, I mean, he is an avionic engineer. He's worked with a lot of weird technology. He's very into all of these articles on what's being developed and stuff, and we'll go into things with people on why this won't work or this will, as they talk about, we're going to do this. And he's usually very accurate. Smart, very smart guy. Not always sure why he married me, but very smart guy. Oh, God. I guess if they're replicating sex bots, that would mean a whole different thing if one of them started saying, I can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one ever done it. Yeah.
Yeah, start off with a medical cure for everything. You end up with the Borg. Yep.
They want to rewrite genetics. They want to reprogram DNA. They want to change our lifespan and stuff like this. And while you could say that there's a noble thought process behind that, it's really big warning bells. And I swear half the time with the things I hear that they're experimenting on or trying to do, all I keep hearing is a giant robot in the background. Warning, warning, warning.
Danger, Will Robinson. Well, has anyone watched Altered Carbon, especially season 1?
I don't think so, but I haven't really watched much in a long time.
It's a series. It's done from books, but it's a series on Netflix. And although the general proposal of the story is slightly different than what we're talking about, the broad strokes implications match up. So in the Altered Carbon universe, they discover technology from ancient aliens that allows them to be able to extract their person, their essence, their soul into a piece of technology that can be basically integrated into the back of your neck. And then you could just move it from one body to another. And the problem statement that comes up out of that is that the wealthiest people end up being able to live insanely long lives, effectively speaking, because they just keep moving from one clone of themselves to the next. And then it just allows the power and corruption level to go through the roof. And meanwhile, everybody else just kind of gets left behind. And even if the AI doesn't take over and the self-replicating robots don't turn us into the Borg, the same kind of problem could happen. I mean, it's people complain about the divide between the haves and the have-nots today. And I mean, even the have-nots by today's standards still have way more than everybody else. But if you were to introduce something like this, man, this could actually stop floating everyone's boat on the same ocean and, start sinking some people, because now you can fully control them effectively.
Look at the history of Star Trek. Look at a lot of the things that were said and done or came out in the episodes in the first series. Look at the warnings that they had through the whole issues with Khan. Look at the stuff that they had with the Doctor and the guys that he dealt with in Deep Space Nine. Roddenberry was never a fan of the idea of actually getting into genetic mutations and manipulations. He was never a fan of playing God with life forms. And he made it very clear in multiple places that he wasn't. I tend to side with him on that one because it's dangerous for so many reasons. And when we start trying to create these machines that can involve in life and all this other stuff, when we start trying to create these life forms that have all these different capabilities beyond us, we're not supposed to play God. We're not that fucking smart. I'm sorry.
Now, even on the best of days, we still find a way to foul things up.
I mean, I don't consider myself stupid. I know what my IQ is. I know what I've done in education and study and stuff like that. But I don't think I should screw with any of this stuff. And I have more faith in myself than I do most people out there. I think my husband's one of the most brilliant people I've ever seen. And I wouldn't want him screwing with that stuff,
Well, it's a complexity of systems on systems on systems is where the problem crops up. And people, one of the things I've been trying to teach my son and make sure that he keeps it in mind is because he's an adult now, but he's just getting through he's into trade school and figuring out what he wants to really do. And two things that almost everybody has the worst time with, and that's admitting they don't know and admitting they need to ask for help. And people just push past those so often with no regard for the outcome that comes out of that they also don't want to take responsibility when it does go wrong. Like, for instance, people don't understand statistics very well. They just look at a number and go with it and don't stop and slow down and ask a question about it. What's this statistic really say? What does it not say? What are the vagaries? What other things are attached to it?
That's the thing with and that I get into a lot with dealing with people that always cite all these stupid domestic abuse, assault, sexual assault stats and stuff. Is I go into the stats people aren't talked about, the way that it happens with men too, and stuff like that, and that you can actually find if you research why these stats are what they are and what the likelihood of somebody who's victimized coming forward. So if you start seeing that it's really not a gender issue, and so they take a few stats that they can manipulate to their side and they try to make it a gender issue. But if you actually look at all the stats and all the data, it's not that simple.
Well,
and
nothing.
I think where most things are in life is that if you actually look at the stats and the facts, your biases will not be backed up.
No.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Good morning, Keely Chow. Good morning, Curtis YZ. And let's see here. Yeah, you're right. Michael Burnham is. Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, Discovery coming up on the comment there. Yesterday, what little I was able to catch from the show while working, the whole problem with Tilly stems from one particular issue. And that is that character existed in that show to pass one single requirement, and that was the Bechdel test. When you go and read, when you do a read up on Bechdel, and then you look at Tilly, she absolutely was there to be the pass for the Bechdel test. And then when they didn't have anything else for her to do, you can tell by the way her character started to get written. Now, I've only watched season 1 and season 2 because after that I didn't care to watch anymore, and I won't, just on principle, because that show is just generally so terrible. But yeah, I mean, Bechdel basically seeks to eliminate men from storytelling. Like, it's not just a measure of making sure that you just don't have women or girls in your story as a foil. If you go and you read what the actual requirements are to pass it in almost every single iteration or variation on the Bechdel test, it's basically to eliminate men from the story entirely.
Well, that's the thing, is they're not putting characters in there to be equal. They're putting characters in there to erase men and white people and Christians and stuff. Because if it was truly about equality, they would be actually trying to add people with their real cultures, other things like that, put them in places where it makes sense, not just whitewash, race swap, gender swap, and go, hey, here, have sloppy seconds, and you just be erased, and both of you be happy about it.
Yeah, that's why I drone on unendingly about how The Expanse is quite possibly the best science fiction maybe ever, because it is no pandering, no compromise, basically no fluff, and there's every one of the classic checkboxes that the woke crowd likes to go on about pretty near shows up, but it shows up in a way that is either natural or inconsequential or just accepted as, yeah, everybody just, quote unquote, gets along. For anybody who has watched or hasn't watched any of The Expanse, I won't spoil anything specifically, but the Belters are made up of all colors, creeds, and races, and they all know each other by the way they speak and by the collection of tattoos that they tend to wear, and they're all Belters, full stop. Kind of like the classic, if you were born in the United States, you should only be calling yourself an American.
Well, I mean,
that kind of a unified policy. And I don't mean this as any way to come back and talk about, real world politics. I'm talking about the story generation in there.
Yeah.
I
would say it depends. If you're talking about the other because you're trying to put it before being part of the melting pot in society, if you're putting your culture to such a level that you're not willing to try to work with and exist with others, it's a problem. But if you're talking about your culture because you're hanging on to it, that's different. I mean, look, I when I came into fandom, CG, all this, part of what I want to do is I want to eventually make a comic series based on the female braves in my tribe. But again, not as they're perfect or shit like that, but they were the American equivalent of Amazonians, But because it's a story that hasn't been told, and if you want real representation, tell the actual history and stories, tell the actual mythology of that group, tell stories that show the complexity, good and bad, of that group, not just say, here, we gave you a little race swap, feel patted on your head,
Oh yeah, the stories, people think that stories from history are boring, and no way, they are
what
ridiculous.
do they think most entertainment is based on?
Well, and just history from anybody's perspective, as long as it's reasonably dependable. There's a guy on YouTube, the History Channel, or the History Guy. He does some absolutely hilarious stuff where he runs through things on people from all corners of the world that you would just never expect.
I grew up
to hear from them.
obsessed with mythology, history, and cultural development and sociology and stuff, because it really is. If you want to understand the people around you, study history, see how human psyches develop, see how people differentiated, how they saw the same things from different perspectives, all of that, and you will understand humanity.
Well, it'll certainly get you closer to it, that's for sure.
And I'm not saying that means we'll understand everything about everyone or any of that, but as a general, you'll understand the species more if you study history. And the thing is, it's full of insane, violent, dirty, and other tough stories because people are twisted and always have been.
Yes.
So if you're one of those who likes all this violent and sexual media, read real history stuff. The problem is history books are not focused on the actual stories. They're focused on, they kind of give you a really, really brief glimpse of what the story is, and it's all focused on regurgitation of names and dates.
For the most part, yeah. Well, especially anything modern, any modern textbooks. So anything basically in the last 30 years,
and that's
maybe even a little longer.
Incredibly boring, but it doesn't really teach you anything.
No, it's a disservice to history.
What's more important, being able to remember the exact day a war started on, or understanding the nuances that led up to the war starting, how people fought during it, who was the good guys, who was the bad guys, or was this where both sides were wrong, and the complexities of the war and how many people were lost to it. That's the stuff that's more important.
Yeah, like
not the day it started and the day it ended.
Yeah,
no.
I would rather you be able to tell me why Archduke Ferdinand and his wife were killed than exactly when.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely more important. And good morning, Bone.
Athena is very, very hyper for everything she deals with. Hey, hon, you want to bring her here a minute? Or you want to just keep wrapping around me?
But, yeah, it really is too bad that people don't want to know more about history and about what has gone on, because it would probably address so many unfortunate things that people are misunderstanding at the moment. I mean,
good morning, lovely Sherry, and good morning, Robert Rose Jr. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The whole thing that you guys might have, well, those that are in the States might have caught, because it wouldn't have necessarily made the press as much, but the whole the so-called unmarked graves that were being found throughout the summer and the spring up here in Canada. Most of those graves were only unmarked because they were unkempt, not because they were secreted away and hidden. Most of those unmarked graves that were at those residential schools were very well known. The problem was that people only ever put wooden crosses or wooden grave markers and never went back to either replace them or put
and
something more permanent.
The more horrific abuses and the stuff that was done at those residential schools was not just up in your country.
Oh no, I know.
Oh, that stuff happened
that's
down
the
here.
part. And that's the part that should have been discussed in general, as opposed to just trying to make a big hullabaloo about supposedly a bunch of people that were dead that were being quote unquote hidden. No. The reality is that there were far worse things going on.
The more important part of it wasn't whether or not they were easy to find or stuff. It was the fact that there were horrific things that were being done to them, and that's why they died. That's the stuff that really needs talked about, what they were put through in their life, not where they were after they died.
Yeah, and then, as is typical at the political level, is the powers that implemented most of their whole residential school system in Canada are actually the party that is in control of the country for the last, at this point, 6 years now.
Well, most of the residential school system down here that did that to natives, the IHS healthcare system that's been so abusive to us, the relocations, reservations, all that stuff. Most of that came from the Democrats, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, up here,
And I
liberals
don't care if
equals
people
Democrats.
are
So.
left or right, and I have problems with both parties, but I don't understand the people that go running to the party that historically has been the worst one to them.
Yeah, talk about Stockholm syndrome.
And again, that doesn't mean the general people in the parties or anything. And I will not agree with villainizing people on either side, you know?
Yeah.
But historically, it's true. In fact, Custer was a Democrat who wanted to become president on the backs of trying to kill all natives.
Yeah.
Until we killed his ass. I mean, no, I am a lawless too. My family goes back to Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull until we killed his ass.
Yeah.
And this is Athena, the one Bowen was asking about. This is the kid who's got to get more surgery, so that's why he's asking about her. She's got cystic tumors down here that are causing problems for her.
How old is she?
5.
Oh, wow. That's young to start having those problems for a cat.
Oh, she's had cystic issues and tumors and stuff since before I got her when she was 3. So she had one in her eye that had to be removed here last year that was in the eyelid up here. And they actually had to go in with the laser stuff and actually remove it and do surgery right along basically between the eye and the brain.
Man. Well, they did a good job, obviously.
Yeah, they did a very good job. She healed really well from it, and she's been very happy since. So, but they got to do some more stuff yet. Get the other stuff out. But she's a good kitty, and I rescued her because she was abused and hurt a lot. So.
Yeah. There are historic facts show even a lot of old West towns, such as Dodge City, didn't allow the carrying of firearms in town. Yeah, that's actually one of the things I get a real good kick out of off of what you just brought up, Robert, is that especially in the U.S., the idea of the Wild West is actually complete fabrication. Is the West was apparently, well, in comparison to how everyone thinks it was, it was insanely boring.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now there was a lot of the shooting. There was a lot of that stuff. There were a lot of the crazy things and stuff. But again, that wasn't everything that was happening either. And with that whole situation, okay, I grew up in the Black Hills. I grew up where you have Keystone, Lee, Deadwood, and all that stuff. I have relation on the native side. My mom's side, I'm related to people like Billy the Kid. So, I mean.
Oh, cool.
I grew up in that culture. And the area where a lot of it happened. So I've seen a lot of the history and the artifacts and the memoirs of it firsthand, you know?
You know, it would be like keeping a diary of just the important days. You know, like, okay, January 1st, you got Valentine's Day, you got, you can skip around the calendar to other days that are important. And
big events happen on those days.
Big events happen on those days. But then you've got the rest of the time that's not included because nothing happened.
Well, nothing of note to the people that were noting
exactly.
It. Yeah.
So it's like, according to no big deal. So why write about it? And now we're looking back going, okay, well, this happened, this happened, this happened. And it, TV almost portrays it as happening like boom, 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 here we go. It's all at once. And it's not factual.
Yeah, it's
more entertaining.
It's more like a long stretch of boredom with these punctuated moments of, Jesse James this or, Billy the Kid that. And then it goes right back to absolute quiet again for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get history fed to you in a mad hurry, it tends to feel like it was always that way.
Meanwhile, apparently she really wants help. She's purring so hard my whole pillow's vibrating.
Shit.
She's like, I love you. Give me attention. Woman, give me attention. I ended up with this girl a couple of years ago because she didn't want anyone else at the shelter to touch her or talk to her. And they had her in the shelter because she was abused and thrown from a moving car on the highway.
Oh. It's funny how that can work with pets. I knew a lady who had a tiny little dog, was a rescue dog, and was abused, and the dog was terrified of men. Didn't matter how nice you approached or how soft you brought your voice down or anything. It was something about men. And from what she had told me, the owner of the dog that the dog was taken from was a truck driver, a man truck driver who basically just abused the dog.
Well, it's like this one was terrified of men, and it took her a long time to relax with my husband. But at the same time, when I took her with me when I had to go to my parents' place last year, because, I'm in Iowa here where the freaking derecho hit last year. So most of this town got either trashed or destroyed at some level. And when I say town, I mean the metro area is about 250,000. Most of the city got pretty trashed, and a lot of places got completely destroyed, and it stunk. It was moldy, and I couldn't be here. So I went back to my parents' place for a few months with the kiddies while my husband dealt with that. And she latched onto my father instantly. And by that, I mean, I walked over to him to introduce her to him. And she sniffed towards him, looked at his eyes, and jumped onto his chest and wouldn't let go of him. And for the whole time we were there, she followed him around all day. She laid on him any chance he'd sit down, and she had. And she just clung to him. And then she cried herself silly in the car on the way home. And she's still my girl. I'm still obviously her first choice human. You could see she loves being with me. But she was like almost obsessively in love with him, to the point where she'd actually start yelling at my mom and pushing at her if she tried to get close to him. She didn't want to share him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Actually, here's a cute and sad kind of story. Animals and people. So when my son was really little, he stepped on my parents' cat's tail. Well, when I found out also that America owns their rockets. Owes their rockets?
Yep.
And okay. Yeah, wait a minute. I was hung up on the grammar, and then there we go. Yeah. Good old Werner von Braun.
So yeah, who could resist taking care of this kitty? Look at her.
So he stepped on the cat's tail, and he was just little. He might have been like 2 or 3. That cat basically developed a grudge for the rest of life, and anytime Matthew would be down at my parents', the cat would immediately disappear. It was almost like she knew that he even came in the house the minute the door even opened, and the cat would just disappear. But when Zeus, funny name for a female cat, but
yeah.
when Zeus, when she was on the cusp of passing away, and she lived to 18 or 19, so she had a long life. She was a throwaway. They found her in a freaking garbage bag on the road as a kitten. Just some people. Anyway.
Yeah, when I told my husband what happened to this one and why the shelter had her and was do all the medical on her, his response was that we needed to find the people who did it and throw them from a car at matching velocities.
Yeah. So we went down to go say hi and bye to the cat for the last time, and what was almost soul crushing but sweet was the cat, in all what left of strength that she had, actually crawled onto Matthew's lap and purred. It was like, I'm out the door. I forgive you finally.
I remember they called this one Peaches at the shelter, and I thought it was stupid as hell. So I literally just sat down, held her, and started saying the names of different goddesses until she liked one.
Yeah.
And that's her name. So she's my little Athena. My other cat that you saw here earlier is named Ornery. And my niece named her that one because she didn't like anybody in the family but me. And so she kind of tormented the kids until I got her.
And good morning, Lugger. What's going on?
I don't know. I have no idea. I made a total ass of myself last night on Michael J's stream. So,
Are you joined in on the Jep Nerdy?
yeah. I made the mistake. I just wanted to go in and say hi, and then all of a sudden I'm on the board, and I'm like,
Yeah, all you Central Time people. I'm partially from the future, and I've already got old man got to go to bed itis by that time of night.
Yeah.
well,
My sister lives in Texas, and she constantly forgets about that, and she'll message me, and it's like midnight, and pa-ding, my phone wakes me up.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we don't talk to each other after 10 o'clock on any given night. Although it was Friday night, so it wasn't like the rules really applied.
Yeah. I being in the Atlantic time zone, I'm 2 hours ahead of Central, and obviously just 1 hour ahead of the Eastern time zone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's enough. That's enough. Some days where I was like, no, I'm done. Good night.
Well, I think a lot of people forget there is an Atlantic time zone.
Oh yeah, there are a huge number of people. The rather not tiny company I work for that's international. Most of my coworkers are constantly they usually live in the Eastern time zone, and they're constantly forgetting about. Oh yeah, you're an hour ahead. Oh yeah, I scheduled that meeting right over top of your lunch. I'm sorry. No, you're not. But it's okay. It's a lot more okay working from home now that if that something like that happens. But
yeah,
because if it was when we were still in the office, we're like, no, thanks, because at least I can run down the hall here and microwave stuff and bring it back and eat in comfort. Yeah. But and the one time I was on Jep Nerdy as a contestant, I got slaughtered.
Well, at least on the board I was on, none of us were in the negatives. I at least ended up with 1 point. So,
hey, at least you got something.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I see Rosetta crashed.
Ah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, she went poofy. I always like when these I can't even use my brain this morning. Network channels, release their stuff on the Atlantic time zone, because then I can watch it like 2 hours earlier than.
Yeah. Take advantage of us wherever you can, right?
Yeah. So you must be in Canada, huh?
I am.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I get my boots and go, and I don't know, too many stereotypes. And I code switch too, so the longer I speak with somebody of a particular accent, I'll start switching a little bit. I get talking to my Quebec coworkers, and all of a sudden, a little bit of the Quebec English accent starts slipping into my accent.
I do. Well, I'm in Minnesota, so it's like
Yeah, exactly. You're actually you believe it or not, and most people won't believe this, but you will because where you are. There are, by head count, there are more people that have that classic Canadian A and the rest of it in Minnesota than there are in most of Canada.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Well, it's A to
No,
Z, so
I'm not going oot una boot, Arvik. And if I were to read it plain, it would be out and about. And if I were to read it harsh, it would be out and about.
mhm.
And I would never say it the second way. I would just say out and about. But my sister would accuse me of saying oot because she's been in Texas for too long. Canada is small. It's about the same, actually. We're about 36, 37 million now as to California. America's attic. We're America's hat. We're the upstairs neighbor. Keep it down, eh?
Oh, I'm just waiting for the Canadian invasion. Come on.
We'll
Come
just
on.
flood you with maple syrup and that'll fix it. Oh, is it up to 43 million in California now? Holy. That's a few people.
Yeah.
Although I understand they're leaving a lot more now than they ever used to.
This is true.
Well, nobody wants to live there, so.
Well, some people do, but and some not by choice.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Mr. CCTV had to move to California for family. So, yeah.
I'd enjoy the weather and the countryside living if it wasn't for the fact that the government is crazier than in Canada. And that's going pretty far considering we've got Captain Silly Socks running Ottawa. Well, I say that just if you hadn't seen enough of the mockery of it was the fact that for the first couple of years he was prime minister, far more was done and said about what socks he was wearing with his suit than his actual policies. Because he'd have like Star Wars socks or this cute little puppy socks or whatever on there. I was like, oh, it's just he's so pretty, and look at the socks he has on.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, he's the first debutante prime minister. There's just no question about that.
And yeah, it does make a nice narrative, but not really that many people leaving.
And a lot of the people that are leaving are actually media personalities and are the most either known to everyone or are fairly vocal about it. So there is that.
Yeah.
Captain Silly Socks, yeah. But hey, his dad was prime minister, so he figured it was his turn to do it. Okay.
And so I'm guessing that he's not exactly the most popular.
He's
with
extremely popular in 2 cities. And this is one of those things I always like to say to my American friends and family. Do not wish to ever get rid of the electoral college, because you will also be run by just 2 cities if you do that. Because effectively the seats in Montreal and Toronto are enough to guarantee that one party will always be in control of government. Because as we know, metropolitan areas tend to lean left, or at least towards social policies or socialist policies, and because of that, they tend to vote for people who will feed that addiction. And because Montreal and Toronto constitute well over half the population of Canada, the metro areas at least, it basically guarantees that the rest of the country is run by just those two cities. So, like, I mean, I live in a province where the population's not even 1 million, but yet we get told what to do because people in Toronto are scared of bad people.
And no, Eric Sander, we're not going into politics. So it's just
no, I'm just grumbling.
It's just,
yeah.
You know.
And I was wrong. I would have said Toronto and Vancouver, but
Vancouver has a modest amount of influence, but the population is so tiny there. The whole metro area is only maybe like 1.5 million, where the Metro Toronto area is around 8 or 9 million. And Metro Montreal is something in the 2 to 3 million range. So that's fair. Like, and then if you stretch out just a tiny little bit, then you start bringing in all the bedroom communities, and then you end up with well over half the population just in 2 areas.
I really have changed your accent. You were speaking in just a complete, straight up American accent, and then I come on and right to Canada.
Yeah, I get all like rural and boondocks.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I don't mind. I was
just commenting on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was
it's all good. Yeah, I'm a half breed anyway. I'm half French, half English, so.
It'd help if I was unmuted.
Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah.
What's going on, Resolute, Jeremy?
Oh, not much. The cartoons are set up to go in just under 2 hours.
Cool.
Cartoons.
Yes, Cartoon Saturday on Resolute Germ's channel. I always like watching those. Go ahead, Germ.
We got classic 90s, 80s, and a little bit 2000s. About 4 episodes. The watch party.
Oh, cool. What's on the docket?
Darkwing Duck, Clone Wars, Conan, and Transformers.
There was a Conan cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the early 90s. I believe it came out in 92 or 93.
Oh.
Right after the hype from the movie died down.
I don't remember that. Of course, that was at the tail end of high school for me, so I wouldn't have paid as much attention. I had all the classic 80s cartoons. All the real gems like the Monchi-Chis and all that stuff. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched that one. Of course, when you have a sister and you got to share TV, you got to watch what's on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that a good fun time back in the day when you only had one television?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm only one guy living in a huge house, and I have at least 4 televisions.
It actually gets crazier if you turn it into ways in which you can watch a show, because now you have to start counting your computers. And then you realize, damn, my house is a screen.
Oh, and you got JP's tiptoeing in here.
Cool. Hey, JP's, what's going on? You working today, or are you able to come on? And there we go. It looks like Rosetta is back for a little bit.
Hi, Rosetta.
Oh, change of venue. Oh, muted.
Yeah, you're mutated.
No. Those are natural. I mean,
Well, I wasn't going there.
I'm going to be doing some photos, so I'll be off camera for a few minutes, and I'll be out in the boondocks doing
Okay.
nature stuff. Hubby's in the back seat, so hopefully he'll behave.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Let's see here. I'm not showing that the stream has been set up, but hey, what do I know?
How's YouTube doing with that?
Baited questions.
Yep. Last time showing is 6 days ago. But hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Frost.
Yes.
A lot of frost.
Yes.
Frost.
We're supposed to get snow on Tuesday.
Yay.
Let's see here. JP's just woke up. No Pepsi. What do you mean no Pepsi, JP's? Unacceptable. I agree.
We had rain the other night. No snow, but
It's snowed a few times, but it hasn't stuck yet. But it's been cold as hell overnight recently.
Yeah, we had snow and then rain and then sun and then rain and then snow, all in like 5 hours yesterday. It was pretty funny. Although I think the snow that did come a few days ago is going to stay here because it's still there. There's some grass poking through, but it'll stay this time, I think.
Soon I'll be in the mountains, and then I'll see lots of snow. I mean, no, I was actually a little serious when I said yay, because we haven't had any stick this year yet, and I need to get at least a few eagle shots in the snow, and I don't know how long I'll be back with my family in the mountains. So if I could get a day or two where we can actually get out in the snow before we leave, it'd be good. You know?
so the eagles are not out in the mountains.
No, actually, eagles like lower altitude areas. They like cold weather. They like snow and ice. In fact, they lay their freaking eggs during the snow. But they like lower altitudes with a lot of rivers and lakes. That's why they are so common in Iowa here.
We have a fantastic number of eagles out here in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I think when they went over all the information the last few years, it's about 1/3 of the bald eagle population. It spends the majority of its year in East Iowa here and along the Secret River and Mississippi and stuff. So they're everywhere you look. And when we go down to Coralville Dam, they're just large flocks of them sitting around, flying around, fishing and hunting. Just remember, it's a convocation or congress. So unlike the other, it's a congress that actually does something. I mean,
With a matriarch.
yeah, with a matriarch. And oh God, she's violent. The matriarch at those down at Coralville Dam decided she hated the gulls that were fighting in front of her the other day. So she held them down with her wings and pecked her beak through their heads.
Ooh.
That was a really disturbing thing to watch. I guess that's what you mean by don't piss off the matriarch?
In that case, yeah. They got the point.
Yeah, literally. That's why I tell people, being a nature photographer, you do actually desensitize a lot the same way you do with a lot of violent media and stuff, because you see graphic shit and it's not even media. You're seeing it happen in real time in front of you.
Well, that's the whole. Actually, that's an even bigger thing is anyone that lives rural or rural-ish versus people that basically grew up their entire lives in either a megalopolis like New York City or even a fairly large city and just never left the city. They're just completely isolated from
There's a lot
how
of
the
them
rest of
here,
the world
actually.
works.
You know, you get a metro area of 250,000. A lot of the people in the center of the city never leave the center of the city.
Yeah.
They don't understand the world outside of the city, even though they're surrounded by fucking farmlands.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't
They're not going to
handle.
take those 10 miles to go out of town and see something other than the city.
Yeah, they wouldn't gut a fish if you paid them to do it. They'd eat it after it was taken care of for them, but they wouldn't do it
See,
themselves.
my dad always made us do that stuff. If we're going to fish and catch it, or we're going to eat fish from the rivers and lakes, we had to help gut and clean it. He wasn't going to do all the work for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was how I was raised.
It did not stop me.
Scott German, you're kind of funny. People,
yeah, I know. Between
people in cities think chicken comes from the grocery stores.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a funny joke, but there are people that think milk just comes from the grocery store. They don't really consider, the whole process.
I have actually met people who think that chocolate milk means it came from a black or brown cow.
A brown cow. My dad used to try to mess with us and say that, but he grew up on a farm.
I've met people who genuinely think that bison were easy to kill. I'm like, you do realize that the natives who told you that were fucking with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
like,
not
have you
a
ever
thing.
seen a
that
bison?
Was never a thing. Bison are to cows what a moose is to a deer. They're not easy to kill.
Yeah. Moose. The only animal where when a grizzly bear takes a wide quarter, you got to stay away from them.
I mean, I've been around them before in my life, but
well, and then you
don't
got
want to get
idiots.
too close to them.
You get idiots around here that, well, they'll drive up north with their brand new pickups, and then there'll be a moose on the road, and then they're like, "Well, you got to get out of the way, honk honk." Oh, not good for the truck.
I have this story of this. It was an Iowa Hawkeye driver back in the Black Hills. That should say a lot if anybody who's been here with my Hawkeye rants. And this guy was not wanting to wait for the bison sitting in the road. So he kept trying to get closer to it and honk at it. And the bison being, irritated, but looking at him like, I ain't moving, screw you. Eventually, he got too close, and the bison just turned around, backed up, set his butt on the hood of the car, and then just took a dump down it.
And I would like to apologize. I did have a computer issue.
It's okay.
I wouldn't have just left and inflicted Rosetta on everybody without warning.
Just saying, Cap.
Yeah, Professor, I'd do that. I'd go on R&R.
But, I mean, I've seen the dumpers. I saw the little teenage boy with the Canadian plates, and he's hanging out his car window trying to take a selfie against the bison.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, in New Brunswick, we have a lot of wildlife fences along the highways because, well, moose. Way more moose than the deer problem because there's a lot of marshland in the lower half of the province. So,
unfortunately, in the Black Hills, we don't get the smarter Canadians who live rural and are out in the mountains and understand wildlife. We get the city folks who heard about this mountain range down in America and want to see what it's like, and they are the
thickest of the thick
and rudest tourists. I swear to God, the only people as rude as them are the Texans.
Aw.
And I don't, and it's like none of my Canadian friends are anything like the people that we've always seen as tourists growing up. And I never, growing up, understood the media thing about polite Canadians because that damn one of the ones we ever met growing up dealing with tourist season, you know? I'm like, and that's, I guess, just which ones decided to visit. But it was like, I always had this view, like, is this really what Canadians are like? And then I started getting to know some, and well, some of them. I mean, I do know one who says that one of his goals in life is to prove that Canadians swear more than Americans.
Swearing in French does not count.
Correct.
Nerd. Actually, what's funny is a lot of Quebec swearing is actually just using a bunch of the French words for sacred objects in the church as curse words.
Oh, you Canucks are all bastards, anyways. I mean,
what?
Sorry, I have to take cheap shots where I can get them. The one thing I don't get, though, is the people that are in Canada who try to act like they're morally superior to America and call America the land, the people stole the land and stuff like that. It's like, you do realize you guys did it too.
Oh, I could tell you right now, and I have probably been guilty of it a few times in my life, and by a few I mean probably a lot more than a few. Is there's this if we're going to generalize, you can pretty much say that Canadians are the most veiled, polite narcissists, in the sense that, well, we'll say sorry for everything. That's not even an exaggeration. If someone bumps into me in a line,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Everyone just says sorry for absolutely everything,
Hey,
and that's not an exaggeration.
That says sorry all the time. It sounds half like they're saying sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, it's sorry. Yeah, it's like, it's a weird way of saying it, but secretly we tend to think of ourselves, by and large, as better than practically everyone. But we do it in this way that you still like us after we say it. It's very weird.
I don't.
Well, and
JP's politeness.
JP's Tabernacle
Polite.
says polite. Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about? JP's is not a typical Canadian by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
In fact, if I didn't know better, and please don't hate me for this, JP's, if I didn't know better, I would swear he was an American.
Is JP's from Quebec? Is it?
No,
is the Tabernacle in there for effect, or is that genuine? JP's?
Oh, like I fuck that shit. Sorry, but yeah.
No, but I mean, I always found the misnomers on it because, they'll say sorry as a general, but most of them look down on you and talk down on you. And the thing is, it's one thing if you're like going to where they live and they talk down at you, because we talk down to tourists all the time. We had the running gag of, if it's called tourist season, why can't we shoot them? But if they're coming to your home and then they're telling you how much they're better than you and how much your culture is oppressive and all this shit, fuck you. And that's the ones we always got. The ones who came down and then tried to educate us on how wrong we were as Americans.
I'd almost have to wonder.
As bad as Europeans.
He's in Winnipeg.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's a lot of French in Winnipeg. So, yeah, I almost have to wonder sometimes if a lot of those tourists aren't coming from the larger cities, like Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver.
Oh, you can always go back to the Frantics joke in Last Will and Temperament. If I give my entire estate of $10 million to the people of Calgary so they can afford to move somewhere decent.
JP's is throwing grenades. We are better than you.
This is my homeland. You're all invaders. Fuck that. Did I say that?
Well, the interesting part is that you would have been, how do I say this, invading yourself.
In some ways, yes, because of the family side. Except for mom's side, really wasn't invaders. They're mostly, Celtic nobodies who were treated like slaves, anyways. So
yeah, I'm my other half is the other half of me is Acadian, so my ancestors came over, were nice and polite, and then got chased everywhere by the English. Half of them went to New Orleans, and the other half got sent to the worst land on the East Coast here, and then suffered through it.
I have a lot of British friends, and I blame them for everything in the world.
Of course.
And anything as Cap was saying, because there's the running joke. It's been used in some shows before. It's been said before of why some natives don't celebrate Thanksgiving, because it was supposed to be a going away party for you people, but you never left.
Oh man, I haven't heard that one in forever.
And yeah, I mean, he's a brother for all intents and purposes. It's complicated, but he's got the native side. He's also very much in military cowboy. And so we always kind of joked that he had it easiest because he could play cowboys and Indians by himself. So, I mean...
Well, did you catch him playing with himself a lot?
Oh.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I went there. Sorry.
Sorry. Right?
Sorry.
But I mean, so yeah, I say stuff like this. I can't even remember what Mars said the other day when I typed back to him in the messages to kiss my snow white, pale skinned, teepee creeping, scalp collecting ass. But the fact that that's how I describe myself tells you how politically correct I am.
Which would be not at all.
Damn straight. Which is another weird phrase, because dams aren't straight. They're all crooked. They all have to bow some to fit work.
Yep.
And then we have Resolute Germ, who's yelling at his microphone while he's muted, so...
More than likely.
Why won't anyone respond to me?
You know, it's funny. I wish I had the option of unmuting him just to see what's going on. But that would be rude.
You know, that's the reason why we don't have that option, is because we would so abuse it, and people who muted themselves to deal with something would suddenly be heard on air.
Yeah. Yeah,
I could imagine that some of the times that I've dipped off streams and muted and turned off camera to go spend time with hubby, and somebody would just turn it back on.
It's good that that's only a one-way feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
You use that here, all you would have gotten was an air filter.
Yeah.
My little mafia.
Oh, and Scott is asking Rosetta to switch to an avatar.
He just wants to stare at the avatar again.
The streaming video is fucking up his screen. Okay, yeah, that does happen sometimes. I don't know why. It gets annoying.
Yes.
And we have Dr. Alex.
Hello.
Who we can't hear, but is talking. And let's see here. Nope. Let me go ahead and see if I can edit the mic settings. Do this.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There you go.
That's what I thought. No, I did this very hastily, so not my proper full broadcast laptop or anything. In fact, I'm sitting in a really weird place. I had to come on and say hi though, because you may be the featured channel, so it'd be rude not to.
Oh. Oh yes, blame your Chromebook. Turn the resolution down.
Or get something better than a Chromebook.
Set it to like 144. Should be better. You'll hear the audio just fine. The video will look like crap, but who cares? Because you're just listening anyhow.
No, this is not a come and go JPs. We have those, but this one isn't. I'm not going to agree with you with blaming a Chromebook because I have them just because I can get them on clearances cheap, and they work fine with StreamYard. I've never had problems with them. And same with watching.
Hey, BA, and yes, 240p works. I always use lower settings. I don't have it set to the highest. Because most of the time, the only time I
Chromebook on hotspot right now. So I mean,
the only time I don't is when I'm watching a movie. Then I'll eat up some bandwidth. But if I'm just watching a live stream and they're not really doing anything besides talking, why?
Yeah, it depends on the device. If I'm on my desktop, I'll let it just fly at whatever it wants to. But yeah, if you're out mobile on your phone or something, then just dial it back.
You got me curious. I'm on 480p apparently. I'm assuming it's all working fine.
Yeah.
That looks good on my end.
Yeah. That's what it defaulted to anyway.
Since he did say something about Avatar, I just have to point out my current avatar is a little busty like me. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my drawings I did.
Very good.
The husband's trouble. JP, you seem the type that likes going balls to the wall. Just saying. Speaking of balls, I mean,
Hands to the boobs.
Steve!
That's right. Hands to the boobs.
Well, you
When
know,
not
there's
driving.
two hands and there's two, yeah.
That's right. But anyhow, don't do that while driving. That's not safe.
That wouldn't stop him. He'll just wait till I'm driving really slow on a long road.
Or at a stop sign.
To be fair, only she needs to keep both hands on the wheel.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he'll just pretend that she's the wheel. Anyhow.
Oh, Lord.
So,
Behave.
by the way, how are you doing, Dr. Alex? Yes, I decided to make you the featured channel today rather than next week. But yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm good. As I said, I was in the middle of cleaning and cooking. I'm glad to be escaped, but to be able to escape for a few minutes. But yeah, I'll probably have to go back to that soon. Otherwise, I'm good. Obviously, you're probably aware the video is up, ready to premiere at 7 today in the traditional Doctor Who time slot that the BBC so cavalierly abandoned. But I'll take it. Thanks.
I figured today would be the perfect day for it because you've got Doctor Who dropping later.
Exactly. The next day, I hardly want to call it Doctor Who, but yeah, the BBC's output will come out the day after. Yeah, it'll be the end of their series as well because apparently, for excuses, they can't produce more than 6 episodes in a season. It's like, well, I'm one guy with my editor and co-star in a flat, and I can produce 13 episodes. Just watch me go. I shall. But no, BBC with its millions cannot possibly produce more than 6.
Modern seasons to a lot of shows are pretty pathetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, particularly right now. Oh, and Chimbal has really sort of, I think, mastered pathetic on so many levels.
Again, blame the Brits. I mean,
I laughed at that, so sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, but don't blame all the Brits. Don't blame me. I'm doing my best to rectify this crap. But
I blame Brits because a lot of my friends are British, and over half of my audience on my channel are.
there you go. Some
So I
of
make
us.
fun of them constantly, and more of them watch me and become my friends. It's really weird.
And yes, yes, Scott, a season used to be 24 to 26 episodes, and now, yeah.
Even if you take into account the fact that the episodes used to be 24, 25 minutes long, and they're now hour, not quite an hour-long episodes, the seasons in the new Who were 13 episodes a season regular. I went back and checked. They were all, if you take the Christmas one as well, they were all 13. So there's no excuse for this pathetic output, apart from the fact the guy is inept and work-shy.
To be fair, do we really want to see more of this crap they're making?
No. I'm quite glad to not have to. Oh, bloody hell, cat. The cat has just bust in through the door and opened the door wide, so there's noise leaking in from everywhere. All right. Since you decided to invade, look what you're doing.
I'm holding a pussy. Wait a minute.
And good morning, Star Trek nitpickers. Good afternoon, Mar. And agreed.
Like I said, I make fun of Brits constantly, but as Cap is well aware, my best friend I talk to constantly every day is British.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
a loving tease, kind of.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you did send your rejects over here and F up our country, so.
You could always be, vague about your compliment and your insult and just say, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be who we are.
I'm chuckling at you and the,
really
the
my
cat.
style. Or as I tell people, I don't do microaggressions. I do macroaggressions.
Oh. And
Mine
Mar
is so
says,
good, they'll know, won't they, hon?
Mar says,
The cat did not
Neil,
get put up
check
on the
out
string
Twitter,
around.
specifically the comment I left for Lorena on her Seth Rogen comment. Comment. Okay. That means I gotta go to your Twitter later. Thank you, Mar.
Mar, I can't check Twitter when I'm driving.
It didn't mean now.
Message me the link to your comments. I'll look at them later.
Correct.
Oh, everybody's going really slow because there's a cop here.
Ah.
I mean, the speed limit is 45 and they're all going like 30 because there's a cop there.
Oh, that happens everywhere.
That's
I love
just
that.
plain
It's like
stupid.
one cop and everybody all of a sudden thinks that they have to drive like they're harboring criminals in their vehicle or something.
They have to drive like they're 90 years old and can't hit the gas pedal.
And can't turn.
I don't know. I've always found cops to be as bad at drivers as anyone else.
Well, I love how they are very quick to use their lights to get through lights.
Late for lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, because we haven't watched it happen multiple times. Where they just flip on the lights, drive through the intersection, and then turn them off.
Yep.
What?
And the city comes back and says, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen ever all the time.
Okay, Scott Getman says, want to piss off Canadians? Try to bring fruit over the border.
Oh yeah, do not bring fruit. Actually, believe it or not, if you want to get into it,
So
it
you guys
goes
have enough
both
fruits
ways.
of your own?
Well, we got the biggest one in Ottawa right now, so.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Sorry.
No, do not bring, is it fruits and certain kinds of meats to the U.S.-Canada border going either direction. That ends with whatever you brought being thrown in the garbage, and they might toss your car too.
Wow.
Yeah, which is hilarious because a huge amount of trade goes between the two of our countries, of course, as everyone knows. But yet, if you just bring casual road snacks across with you, it's like you were trying to destroy their entire whatever it is, agriculture, something.
Well, that was the weird thing, is because I had a group of family members that live in Montana right on the Canadian border. And I mean, they lived on the border. You could go in their backyard and you could walk to the neighbor's house, a friend of theirs that they partnered with in farming, and you were in Canada. And if they tried to drive on any of the roads to go over to the neighbor's house to load stuff up to take it back to their farm, they wouldn't let them move it from one to the other. But they shared farmland and they were growing them in both.
Yeah.
So they had to transport it through the farms directly in order to transport it, even though it was legal for them to be partnering and trading with each other like they were. They couldn't transport the road because that road had restrictions on certain foods.
Welcome to politics.
Oh, yeah.
Lord, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's like, don't go to the road. Just walk over there.
Well,
Hey,
I mean, some of the well, some of the things that were going on for a lot of border communities during this era of the coof here, you know, we all share a whole pile of little border communities. One of the worst hit is actually there's two that were really nicked pretty bad with this, and that was that tiny little sliver of America that's over by Vancouver,
right,
way on the west coast, and then over here on this side, the island of Campobello, which is part of New Brunswick and of course obviously part of Canada.
Do you want to talk about the Vancouver area, darling?
Yeah, I lived in the Puget Sound for a while.
He was a child up on Orcas Island near Seattle area.
Oh, neat. So getting anybody to and from Campobello Island, there's only one bridge that connects to the mainland, and it connects to Machias, which is in Maine. And man, that was a fight. Like, there were people that got stuck on the other side of the border because, of course, obviously there's a lot of border families and not just border communities. And yeah, it took a lot of finagling to get it so that some people could even come back home. There were some families that were separated for close to 12 months during all this fun.
Meanwhile, they haven't done anything to stop the south border from having people just sliding over with COVID and everything else. Sorry.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
I do actually, but we don't talk about the southern border, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Alex, since we do have you here, what and you are the featured channel today. What can you tell us about what you've got coming up?
Oh, yeah, I suppose I should do that. Yeah, today is episode 6, which is called Hungarian Goulash. Which obviously sounds a lot like Hungarian Goulash. For reasons, all my titles are virtually comedy. And it's not the end of the series by a long way, because it's obviously 6 of 13. But it is a nice mid-season sort of cliffhanger. There's a mini resolution in that something gets discovered, but things are not exactly satisfactory from the Doctor's companion's perspective, hence why there's the rest of the season needed. So episodes 7 through 13 will take us to a conclusion eventually. But yeah, it's actually a nice place to finish when you're thinking about where the BBC are finishing their series on Sunday, whereas I'm finishing my half a series with a nice sort of it's a nice rounding off point to have the half season. So yeah, it's hopefully people will enjoy it. It's got extra special effects. I've been trying to up my game in terms of the special effects and sound effects in our videos. So what else could I say about it? Except everyone should watch it. 7 o'clock premieres today. 7 p.m. That's UK time, of course. And it's probably. I mean, it's not exactly controversial to say this. It's probably a hell of a lot better than what the BBC's going to jerk out the next day.
So here's an interesting question that I probably could have Googled it at some point, but of course this confusion in my mind came up from watching Top Gear over the years. What is the what's the cause for calling a season a series in England or in the UK in general? No one ever calls anything a season of. It's almost always referred to as the series.
It's true. We tend to. I mean, I've got very transatlantic in my vocab, so I can flip between the two quite easily. But series is what we'd always call them over here, because it's a series of programs, a sequence of things that go one after another. So that was one series, here's another series.
So kind of along the same way as we'd say do the dishes, but over there you say we do the washing up, because it's more literal of a description.
I suppose, yeah. In my brain, I'm going. It's more mathsy because teaching series and sequences is part of maths. But it's probably something. Like that.
Meanwhile, my phone keeps chiming because thinking Fred is messaging me.
Yes, thank you, Bone.
It's in the description, but it's made even easier having it in the chat. And Scott Getman says, I still hate you, UK, for the TV tax. Go for it.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't pay it and haven't done for at least 7, 8, 9 years. You don't have to if you're not watching the BBC. I don't have a television, actually. I have a massive projector, and it's connected up to another laptop, and I watch television, if you like, via the internet whenever I want, but I never watch live broadcasts practically, certainly not UK ones. So there's no legal reason for me to have the TV license.
No.
So that actually causes you to not have to have it?
Yeah.
Or not have to pay it, I should say.
Yeah, you don't have to pay it. And it's quite funny. For years, they would regularly, like every 6 months, send me a letter saying, you don't have a TV license. Are you sure you don't need it anymore? And it was just, I don't know. You don't have to respond to them even if you didn't need it. You just don't respond. So they just regularly send these letters. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, they've kind of really given up the ghost. And maybe once every 2 years, they'll send a letter saying, "You sure you don't need a TV license? Please give us some money." And I would just ignore it.
I saw something that they were, at least for things that they have decided are now going to be more aggressively considered TVs, that they were going to start casing people down more aggressively.
Yeah, I've heard talk of that, but I mean, when you've got a flat full of laptops, which is what I have, we have here, then what are you going to chase? Really, you're going to chase us down for having laptops? So that's a little extreme.
I think people would eventually start to put their foot down at that point.
But that's why they disarmed them, so that when they put their foot down, they can't do much. I mean,
I don't know. Europeans know how to riot way better than we do. Not to, fully toss you in with Europeans, because I know some Brits do not like being considered part of Europe, but I made that assumption on your behalf.
I'm not geographically insensitive. I know exactly where Britain is. I know it's definitely part of Europe. Where in the world it is. We're not part of America, I can tell you that much. Or China. Or Australia.
No, they act like that little belt of islands is supposed to be considered a whole separate nation of itself.
Yeah. Makes no
Well,
sense.
consider us part of Europe. It's like, why? You're in Europe.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
you're an island. So what?
Yeah.
I do understand not wanting to be associated with Europeans.
Well, I mean, who would? I mean,
Do you remember Luke? Do you remember Osiris, Luke Fauvac, who used to turn up on Anti-Tracker quite a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's European. He's from Paris. And the reason he reminded me of it was when I last visited, I met up with Luke, and they were having a riot in the middle of Paris. It's exactly what you're talking about. And there was tear gas going into the metro station I was in. Great fun. Never had that happen before. So, yeah, they did have a riot.
Oh, yeah. And especially in France.
You had a riot at a riot, huh?
Let's see here. England will eventually be a U.S. state. Please, no.
No, please, no.
Please, no. No.
I don't want them. They can just stay over there.
Someone's been reading 1984 again. That's what's going on in that comment.
No, I would rather have the Canadians invade and take over America. Just
No.
yeah. Yes.
I don't want that either.
I do.
That would mean that you would end up having the Queen as the head of state.
Daily scalp.
That's fine.
PC whiners. All SJWs will be scalped. I mean,
that's fine. Well, no, I think we ought to just, abandon the left coast and, they can have whatever the hell they want over there. Just stay there.
You are going to have to build a wall across all the passes, though. Because once we run this shithole completely into the ground, there'll be people trying to hop over the Cascades to get to the real world.
True. Well, we need to bring people like you and Bionic Belly Button and a couple others, but the rest of them go to hell. Stay over there.
Yeah, before we can, drop Kelly into the ocean or cut him out of the country, we got to get Jesse and Jeff out of there.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know about them. They can. I don't know.
No. That's not nice.
Well, they can swim for it, yeah.
Oh,
I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere over in that west coast is where Makani lives.
Okay, I like Makani. So, yeah.
I like Jesse and Jeff, thank you. They're nice.
So do I. Jesse and Jeff are my friends. They were also in episodes 2 and 3 of The Doctor season 13, I'd like to point out.
Cool. Well, they never talked to me, so I don't know them.
So they're just in episode 3. I lied. Just episode 3.
I'm not saying I dislike them. Nothing wrong with them. I'm not saying keep them in California.
Right.
California can go straight burn in hell, but
go right to Halifax.
Milestone and Hicks are interesting people. They really are.
Indeed.
But they've also been two of the ones that have been just the most consistent friends to me over the last few years.
Yeah.
Anna's sweet, but I don't get to talk to her often. And yeah, I would say rescue her from California too.
And 47 Yorktown says, you do not want Canadians running America. Why not?
You don't want
I can
Canadians
give a lot of
running
reasons,
Canada.
but you don't want that much political in your channel.
Oh. And Scott says that California is great, except for the people.
That pretty much
No,
applies
I
to the
really
whole
wasn't very
West
fond
Coast.
of the land and the plants either when I was there.
Oh, plants definitely not.
Yeah, you think? The varieties of wild aloe. Yay! Oh, Lord.
Right, I might have to go back to doing the cooking and the cleaning, unfortunately.
By the way, what are you cooking today?
Oh yeah, well, we're in the middle of making soup a la grecque, which, well, despite the name, is in fact a Romanian recipe, and it's basically a chicken soup with lots of vegetables and stuff, and it's really awesome. Particularly the way that my co-star and editor and director makes it. I can make it, but just not as well. So I'm kind of demoted to just chopping up some vegetables and then getting out of the way. But there are other things I need to do apparently as well, like clean.
By the way, we
and
need to simmer
things.
some of the meat and barbecue sauce for tonight. That was my thing I did for his birthday. I spent all day and I made him fresh barbecue sauce from scratch and briskets, slow cooked in it and stuff like that.
Sounds good.
Didn't I, honey?
It's got those redwoods and that highway are, well, most of it's gone now.
True.
Not because they're cutting them down, it's because they don't have any goddamn forest management in that state. They can't stop
that's
any of the
what
damn
I've ranted
fires.
about for a long time. You cannot come into an ecosystem, have man there, and not fix it, because we naturally affect it. It means if we have towns and cities, we have to do maintenance cutting. We have to do forestry work. We have to do conservationist work to control the populations of animals. We have to, or we damage the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Of course, do nothing, and like what they've done, and end up they end up burning down. Hey, why not?
It all started with an executive order from Clinton that went nationally, where they weren't allowed to do anything in any federal or state forest.
No, we were doing it on the West Coast a long time before that.
And that was taken back down. Oh, that's where it got really bad, because they had some in Cali before them, but they didn't have the complete lockout until that. But that got bad everywhere during that. But that was revoked under Bush. Whether you like him or not, he did revoke that and get them cutting again. But as other places in the country have started fixing the damage that occurred during those years, Cali's just continued those policies and gotten worse.
Now we've got Bar.
And on that note, I got to get back to work. I'll see you in a bit, hopefully.
Thank you, Dr. Alex.
Yeah. Bye, Dr. Alex.
Yeah, have a good one, Dr. Alex.
The crowd is
way,
here.
Hello, everyone, and bye-bye, Dr. Alex. I kicked him out. I'm sorry.
Look at
As
that.
far as that land management goes,
Damn crowd.
all 3 states over here sued the federal government so they didn't have to go into the national parks and start cleaning them up. They may have repealed the order, but over here they fought like hell not to have to do it.
And see, that's what I was getting at. Most of the states, they're doing the work now. They're trying to remove all the damage, and it did so much damage in just a few years, not doing any maintenance cutting and stuff. But most of the states are trying to fix it. The second that was revoked, they went, hey, great, let's get back out there. The West Coast went, we want to continue not doing anything in the forest. So, yeah, they're just what? I mean, they're responsible for how bad their fires are. They absolutely are.
Yeah. But the idiot voters in the big cities like Seattle, oh, we're just doing harm if we're doing any of this cutting and whatnot. You don't touch it. Nature will take care of itself.
Yeah, this goes back to what we were saying earlier.
Natural cycles for repairing itself are too destructive to be allowed to happen with man there. That fires is part of how nature restores itself. But because of how thick it's getting, because we don't allow them to burn, because, it will kill people and burn down homes, it can't repair itself the way it normally does. Guess what? You have to do the cutting. You have to do the maintenance work.
Well, how about this is the one that a lot of people, if you explained it to them or told them, you don't really have to explain it, they'd probably start cluing into how much forest management aspects they really don't understand. And I forget the exact species of tree, but there's a tree that does not seed until a forest fire happens. The pine cone on it does not open, or the cone. It's not necessarily pine, but the cone does not open.
Pine, but yeah, it only seeds during fires.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then guess what? There are certain things that you have to
burns
happen.
to keep it in existence.
Yeah. Like I was saying, that goes back to what we were when it was just the 3 of us earlier this morning talking about how there's just too many people that just don't know enough, and then they refuse to admit that they don't.
I grew up in the mountains enough. That was what I was studying as a child until I found out my health couldn't do it. But my dream as a little girl, which tells you how girly I was to become a ranger and work with the bison in the boiling mud in Yellowstone. And that's what I was studying most of my childhood. So, I mean, yeah. People don't have a clue. They don't. We affect the ecosystem just by existing in the same place. We absolutely do. And if you're a good steward of the land, if you are a true environmentalist, if you actually care about the ecosystem, you will learn what your influence on the ecosystem is, and you will take steps to correct it.
Yeah, exactly. Conservationists, real conservationists, aren't just there to not bother a thing. They're there to try to make sure that the thing continues to exist for everyone to enjoy for years to come.
And that involves things that they don't like too, like, pheasants and boars are invasive species. That means to be a true conservationist to try to protect the natural species on this continent, we have to kill every pheasant and boar we can find.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, and the wild boar problem is all over the place right now.
I mean,
Mar, I don't know if you've heard all the fun about wild boars up in Canada and the United States, but there's been such a influx of wild boar that the whole central part of North America is just absolutely polluted with them, to the degree that there are helicopter experiences where you can go and help cull the population from the air because there's just so many and they are absolutely destructive.
Well, you can say that about most of the things that are going on in the US. The black population that has guns.
Says a German.
Yeah, what's not a problem in the USA? Cops are a problem in the USA. Black people with guns are a problem in the USA. Wild boars are a problem
here in the USA. Illegal guns are a problem here in the USA. And that's because of the freaking open border and smuggling. Sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna bite my tongue.
And of course, white people are a problem in the USA.
People like you are a problem.
Yeah, but I'm not in the USA. I'm good enough to stay in Germany.
Yes, and we're happy you stay there. I mean,
ooh, shots fired.
Mar has known me a long time. If I don't take shots at him, something's wrong with us.
Then he'll think there's something actually wrong, right?
Yeah, wild pigs in Wisconsin were just friggin' terrible. We don't have too much of them around here in Minnesota, but yeah.
And it's kind of odd that they've gotten so much up the central areas here, but they really haven't affected Iowa much here, even though they're affecting Illinois and Wisconsin.
They're all the way up into central Alberta.
They haven't. I have never seen one in Iowa here with all my nature time. So, I mean,
I would assume that you're probably just in the right track to avoid them.
For some reason, they're not coming into this state, even though they're coming into all the states around it. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have taste. I mean,
maybe they just don't want to offend the fictitious homeland of the great Captain Kirk.
Oh, no. Riverside does have that birthplace marker. They also have a Star Trek museum down there, and that's actually about half hour, 40 minutes from here.
And of course, what about the Yoders?
The fact that Riverside is, about half the town is it's a small town. They're very into sci-fi and modern and tech and stuff. And the other side of the town is an Amish community. It's interesting.
That sounds fun.
That's definitely
They
a.
get along down there. They don't fight. There's not the English or this, the Amish or this stuff. They do the Star Trek parade together, and they're talking, they're debating tech or not. It's really weird.
110-year-old tractor.
Manual tractors and stuff like that in the middle of all this high tech and stuff. It's like, bah, bah, bah. I'm literally watching like horse-drawn tractor pulley systems and stuff like that in the middle of the Star Trek parade. It's like, what the fuck? And I'm not kidding either. I'm kidding. Oh shit, we haven't been down there long for that stuff.
We need to go this year.
Yeah, we need to try to go down there this next year. I buy a lot of my stuff at the Voyage Home Museum. I mean, I like it there.
I just wanted to say, Scott, how would you know that people was thinking or mistaken you for a Canadian? Because usually we would mistake Canadians for Americans, which apparently is a big insult to the Canadians.
Yeah, actually, that one is.
Actually, I find that insulting as an American to be compared to
Yeah. Remember earlier, guys, when I was saying about that little bit of that Canadian attitude? That's definitely one of them. I actually had to fight the urge earlier when Mar made a comment that wasn't necessarily, but sounded like he included me in his comment about Americans. And I was like, yeah, there it is, bite my tongue. Yeah.
Well, you do know about half of the Canadian country lives south of where I live, so.
Yeah, that's one of those things that a lot of people don't even realize, and it makes it more funny when you get the people that think that everybody in Canada is just living in the absolute frigid north.
Yeah, because Toronto is like, well, it's probably even a couple 100 miles south of where I'm at.
I'm further south.
Not as cold as the mountains I
Are
grew
you?
up.
Yeah, I'm further south. Where are you in Minnesota?
I'm west central, so you know,
like
kind
Twin
of
Cities area, or
well, yeah, out in the, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm north and west of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, so
south of Fargo or Moorhead.
But I'm kind of serious on that. I hear all these people make comments about the frigid Canadian North. It's like, most of Canada does not get as cold as the mountains that I grew up in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not. There are places up there that can get really, really frigid. There are places up there where you're basically getting up into the North Pole. But there's a lot of places that aren't that hot.
Yeah, I'm only just a smidge north of you, Flugger.
Oh, okay.
Just a wee smidge.
Yeah.
But I got the coast, so it helps. It keeps it a little warmer.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does.
You can get a picture of him.
We get, well, you know, we have a lot of lakes around here, so we, you know, they're kind of like thermal, you know, whatever's, you know, batteries, whatever. You know, it really does help.
You guys get clipped by a lot of, well, anybody that lives around the Great Lakes at the right time of year gets clipped by pretty nasty lake effect snow, though.
Yeah, well, I'm not really close enough to a Great Lake to get hit by the lake effect snow. But I know where Rosetta grew up, yeah, there's nothing there to hold the heat. Those mountains are just going to get cold as, you know.
Yeah. There are a few lakes. Most of them are more man-made, but they're basically used as water systems.
Yeah,
But
the folks in Buffalo, New
most
York
of
get
it's very
smoked.
dense, very frigid mountains.
Yeah.
But remember, they're also bordered on a desert and get very, very hot in the summer.
Yeah, you don't get any particular reprieve. It's either one extreme or the other.
You could be negative 60, and then a month later, and then not long later, you're 123, and you're like,
What's that middle road?
cardboard.
Let's see here.
And there's not much between, but I try to explain to people that point between the two, because the Black Hills are a very dry desert mountain range.
Mm-hmm.
Even the greeneries and the shrubs and the grasses are prairie based and desert based mostly. But it's literally, you got the Black Hills here, this little belt of land in between, which is the valley between, and then the Badlands here. So you have high altitude cold mountains, high altitude painted desert.
Mm.
And they're side by side. And so the weather gets very weird and very extreme and very contrary to what's normal for them, for both.
Right.
That's a painted desert where snow is not uncommon.
Yeah, people always assume desert means
Desert
always
weather
hot.
is not uncommon.
Yeah. Desert does not always mean hot.
It is, in some ways, it's kind of nice because it's unique. It's different than you get other places. It's extreme, but it's its own thing. It doesn't look or feel quite like any other. If that makes a lot of sense.
And that's why the Lakotas are always so depressed. Sorry, I stumbled on that.
To quote Reed, if history was really written the way history was, white man did not steal North Dakota from the natives. We went, this is a shit area, we're out of here. But that might be because there's the whole rivalries with the different parts of the Dakotas. Although they split the states wrong. They split it between the north and south, and the populations and how they get along split along the east-west along the Missouri River. East and west side of both states hate each other's fucking guts.
So you want to live on the east side of the river, right?
East River, that's where all the inbred racists are. I mean,
yep, that's what I've heard. Okay.
Sorry.
But I do hear that Texas barbecue is way better than Kansas barbecue.
Well, see, Kansas City, Missouri barbecue is absolutely superior to Texas barbecue. Thank you very much.
I just had to throw that out there since everybody's being
controversial or confrontational.
Yeah, we're on this side of the river. You're on the other side of the river. Well, oh well.
Well, there's it's not just the river's the easiest way to define the split between the two, but you're talking about, where the Badlands and Black Hills and the tribal culture and more the biker stuff and more the explorers and stuff like that are versus flat farmlands. It really does change the culture and the people between the two. And that's, I think, part of why there's such the rivalry there. But it's also because the people that are, as they call East River, where Sioux Falls is and all this stuff, Sioux Falls wants desperately to believe that they should be the state capital. They seem to think they know better for everyone, and they want to control what everyone does in the state. And there's a reason we call it Sucks Falls.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's going on, Mar?
Well, I'm thinking about this barbecue war. I mean,
Like you were talking about barbecuing meat and the wild boar population, and my brain is saying, I want a barbecued boar.
no, actually, I was going a different route there because I have absolutely no idea about American barbecues when it comes to meat. But I know that a lot of Americans who was in Germany say that German salads are the best for barbecues because we have so many different salads. I mean, there is about 3,000 different salads you can have with your barbecue here in Germany.
Really?
Sounds like about as many varieties as the Japanese have Kit Kats.
Oh man, some that should just not exist. By the way.
Now, see, when I'm thinking of barbecue, I don't care what the salads are. It's not a barbecue. I have the viewpoint that he talked about from his brother when he was in Africa for a while. It's not a barbecue unless you have at least 3 different animals, and each animal has to be prepared from different cuts in multiple ways.
Salads are for herbivores.
Or you could use what's his name? That comedian that passed away a few years ago. He's a bit of a portly guy. He always said salad is a promissory note of more food to come.
BA, there is meat salads here in Germany too.
Well, we make some meat salads around here too, but
I'm not going to say what I do with meat.
And so you don't want a wasabi Kit Kat. Okay.
Yeah, Rosetta, I'm following your husband on Twitter. I know what you do with meat.
Okay, let's stop here.
okay, why does YouTube hate Scott so bad? Is he just a troll or what?
What do you mean? Why does it hate him so bad? Let me see here.
Well, because every 3 seconds he puts up a comment, and the wrenches have to show him or hide him.
For fuck's sake, really?
Oh yeah.
Fine.
It makes you feel any better. YouTube does that constantly to Hunky Chunky on my channel, and he is one of my wrenches.
Oh yeah,
years.
I don't know. It just kind of starts to offend me after a while, and I haven't really, been proactive on anything, but it's like, yeah, YouTube, just quit that shit because it just drives me fucking nuts.
The day that was crazy with Hunky Chunky, he kept talking in chat, and as soon as he'd comment, it would pop, and you get the little flip up that this comment was removed by Google moderator team, right? And we're having this whole discussion on, is this an automated bot removing him or an actual person watching the stream? We got an answer to that because it quit happening after a little bit. We were having conversation and all this stuff, and he comments in chat. So I see that the moderator finally decided to leave me alone. I guess you don't want to remove this. And not only did that comment disappear by the moderator, but it then went back and removed every comment of his for the last hour that was still there.
Well, BA, same here. Well, we do not eat cats or dogs, but otherwise, every other meat is fair game.
Of course you are, and you're more than welcome to participate.
Well, I haven't seen you say anything that's been wrong. It's just kind of like YouTube is just trying to shoot you in the head, and it just pisses me off. So
yeah,
sorry, I got my dander up.
That's
I got to put
how it is.
I just got to put a smile back on, and we're not asking you to leave.
Never.
No, we're saying that YouTube is censoring you. And that's Google moderator team doing it, not us.
Scott, please remain. You are welcome.
I just brought it up because it was just pissing me off,
And I mean, you're more than welcome on the panel as well. Well, God, Denny says YouTube would censor him on his own channel. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I've had them remove my comments in my own chat on my own channel. That takes balls.
I'm going to show this one just because. Oh, somebody else handled it first, which is a crock of, schmoot.
Scheiße.
Yeah, Scheiße.
Nerd.
Scheisendreck.
That was
Wrong spelled. I know it's Scheisendreck. But
Mara, did you watch the first Bourne movie?
in German, yes.
Man, well, I suppose it takes the effect away if you watch it in German, because the first time I watched it, the number of times that oh man, I forget her real name, but that actress, it was just, as soon as everything started going sideways, it was just Scheiße. She was just freaking out the whole time.
Yeah, but she was German, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think it was a German actress who played her.
It is, yeah, and she was supposed to be like her character was even like German, and she's half related to the British person that they at the farm where they go to at one point. But it was just really funny because I know what she was saying, and it's like sometimes the movie makers go out of their way to do things in another language so they can skirt the censors or skirt the rating requirement or whatever.
Like the constant use of Sacre Bleu in all the kids' movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, Scott, I will correct your typing there. And I hope that they let it pass.
What is
And I
Vickoff?
don't realize that there's two meanings of that phrase in French, and one is not offensive. But guess what? When they're yelling it at something, they're not yelling the non-offensive version.
Vishkopf?
Vixkopf. Vixen is wanking and Kopf is head.
Nice.
No problem. That's why I like to be around. If someone says something in German, I might be able to help a little bit out and develop lessons there.
Good morning, Frog G, and really?
Well, they are the worst, aren't they?
Well, it's called Wurst, not worst. So that's English thing again, or an American thing again.
Actually, what's funny is the name for the letter in French fully defines why it's supposed to be said the way it is in German. Because in French, W is W. You get the extra stress on the V sound with W.
Mm-hmm.
The joys of three languages that go to war with each other every couple 100 years. Then English just sits back and goes, I'm going to borrow everything.
Of course.
A girlfriend of mine, she had German classes, and her teacher got the articles wrong as well, which I learned while helping her with her German homeworks. At one point, I even got that upset that I asked my friend to give me the email address of her teacher so I can write her or him a very, very bad mail.
So, what are the three languages that you speak that go to war with each other every
The
few
Germans, the
decades?
French, and the
And
English.
the English, yeah.
Ah,
The 100
yes.
Years' War, Napoleon, the Prussian Wars. No. Just a little bit
Prussian?
of entertainment. Russia.
You say Prussian? Was that? Did I understand that correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
pre Germany.
Yeah, poison. I
Poison?
didn't know it. I didn't know it was called Prussian in English.
Yeah, in English it usually gets pronounced Prussian. But that's because of the influence of the Russia part in the Prussian. I don't know what it is actually in French, but I would assume in French you say Russia is Russie, and I don't know if they say Prussie, but if they did, it would
I
be
can
funny.
wonder what the French words for surrender monkeys would be.
You know, I love to slag on the French when it comes to wars, but they really only got the way they did in World War II. That's what's kind of funny.
Well, I've heard that back in the day during World War II, as we was in at war with France, they said something to us, and it sounded like you can have all our women. So we went in there and took over.
They offered and you accepted, right?
Yeah, kind of. But you know how it is with the French. It all sounds so lovely when they talk.
Well, it's
While
the romance language, right? It's
while
the
on the other side, if you speak to a Turkish person, for example, and they say really nice things to you, it sounds like they are declaring war.
Sort of like when people speak German.
And not really, only if we are angry. That's when we sound angry. And that's actually
you
what
speak
it's
German,
supposed to.
You always sound like a slight Austrian man. No matter who's doing it, it could be the most beautiful little blonde girl.
I
They all sound like
I never sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was about to say, Austrians have a much different accent when they speak English. There's a.
I'm also not sounding like someone from Saxony. I also don't sound like someone from Saxony or Bavaria. Also, different languages.
True.
Are you north in Germany or?
I'm North Rhine-Westphalia.
Okay.
A little bit more in the middle of everything.
Yeah, there's a lady at when I did have to work in the office. There's a lady at the office that she was from up in Hamburg, and
God,
most of her accent actually was pretty much gone by the time she'd started working at the office here. But you could still tell it was different from anything that you'd see stereotyped in movies or TV.
So, Scott,
One lane, you
of
dumb
course,
fuck.
German girls, they want to kill you because all they want is your money.
As opposed to American girls who don't want to kill you, they just want to continuously suck all the money.
That's the difference.
Not all of us.
Please tell that to the women in this state.
I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of gold digging bimbos. I'm saying we're not all that way.
Not within 500 miles of me, apparently.
I had no interest in money when I picked my relationship. None.
Well, in Bavarian or in Bayerisch, they would say, for example, stuff like Zaundamisha Depata. So they have more of those hard letters in their language.
I'm gonna say that
Well,
sounds about the least German I've heard, as far as like
yeah.
the way it sounds.
Even I have problems with Bavarian language. And there is Bavarian 1 and Bavarian 3 they speak. And they really call it that.
What?
So Bavarian 1 is easy to understand for a usual German. But Bavarian 3, I'm totally lost with that.
Where's Bavarian 2, or is the whole country a number 2?
Well, I will admit I was wondering where the 2 was myself, but
Well, usually number 2 goes down the toilet.
But I was going to say, no, when I get into language and stuff, it's dealing with tribal stuff. And okay, Sioux is a lot less flowing and pretty than a lot of the tribal tongues. It's a little more hard and rigid. Yeah, if I look at somebody and I use tribal inflection fully and Apechu washte wankin tonkin kichiyun and say it correctly there, does that sound like a peaceful statement?
Nope.
That's I bid you good day, may the Great Spirit bless you.
Well,
But is there a way to soften the tone on it? Because I've heard
Can,
comparisons.
but if you're pronouncing it correctly to the phonetical of the language, it's very hard.
Okay.
When I'm speaking it to most people, I say it a little more, Apechu washte wankin tonkin kichiyun, which is a little softer. It's still rough. It still doesn't sound like a blessing.
no. But yes, you do have a point that you're softening the impact of it. Yeah.
And well, Scott, if you could decide if you wanted to go to Germany or France, you should have decided for France. Because as an American in France, you would have gotten way more pussy.
Yeah, but let's not talk about what he would have done with the alley cats.
But hey, I'm going to be a genius and friends.
Genius and friends. You had to bring up the Weird Al for that.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying you live over there, then, Rosetta?
Well, there's nothing wrong with cat chow mein.
Oh, Lord.
And Rosette, I think your hand was a little bit under the camera when you flipped them off.
Actually, I was holding my phone so it wouldn't go flying around the corner. Now I can flip them off.
Well, yeah.
I think we've lost Rosetta there.
I think so.
Yeah, she's frozen in time.
Sort of like her state.
You were screwed up before you met me. I just made things worse.
I can hear her.
Also, Swiss,
There.
another language I never will be able to speak because I just don't have the... if you know what I mean.
Is it way more guttural, is it?
Yeah, they speak way more out of their throat than with their mouth. And I just do not have a thick enough throat to speak like a Switzerland person could.
Are we leaving because of bottles?
Yes.
Okay.
We're doing the Iowa Slalom. Could totally be a sports event. Avoid all the potholes and race around as fast as you can.
Or
It's like
let's
anywhere
take,
that snow happens.
let's take JFK as an example here. He said, "Ich bin ein Berliner," which was pretty close, but he spoke Saxony.
Yeah,
He
so
didn't
you get
speak
the
German. He
classic.
was
Well, we have you
speaking
here.
Saxony.
There's a joke from what was supposed to be a German character in one of the shows we watched. How accurate did they get it with Ich bin ein Gord?
Was bist du?
He was saying I'm a gourd, but
A goat?
Yeah, what was it? What was it that Kennedy was mocked for supposedly saying in German, that he was a donut, basically, or
Yeah. For
Anyhow.
everyone who do not know that, a Berliner is not only the city; it's also kind of a donut here in Germany. It's filled with jelly.
Ah, cool.
yeah, Tim
I'm
Hortons
surprised you can get that
used
much
to.
out over his accent. JFK was a great speaker when you can understand him. The only problem was he had such a New England accent that if he wasn't careful,
Yeah,
American whatever could not understand him.
as I say, the sentence he said in German was perfect. The only thing he messed up was ich, as he said ich. But ich, then again, would be, well, from Bavaria or from Saxony. And I think it was more Saxony because other way the rest of the sentence would have gone into a Bavarian accent as well.
I got lost in Boston once and ended up in South Boston.
Wow.
And pulled over to a gas station and asked. This was a long time ago because no Google Earth and maps and everything. And
nowadays you
man,
can make it out alive.
well, yeah, I'm in South Boston asking for directions, and well, besides the whole it looked sketch as all get out, the directions were the most unintelligible things I think I've ever had spoken to me in my entire life.
Take care, BA.
Yes, BA, have a good day.
I did not realize that a hardcore Boston Southie accent could be that difficult to understand.
But coffee and a donut leaving now. Hey, BA, have a donut for me.
And Scott, your real name is not David Hasselhoff, is it? He wasn't the one who broke the wall.
And now there's a fun question. What is up with the obsession with David Hasselhoff?
There is no obsession.
Is it all manufactured?
It's all manufactured.
Okay.
The thing is, as we was kids, we liked Kid, not David. Then he started singing at the wall, and the wall broke down. So actually, because the wall broke down, the East Germans hate him as much as the West Germans.
Oh.
And then he was on a talk show and he said, muss ich denn muss ins Stadele hinaus, would be his song, which is a song from the King, which he sung as he was here, stationed in Germany during World War II. It was a song from Elvis. And David Hasselhoff stated it was his song. Which is why most people here in Germany do not really like this motherfucker anymore.
Well, we would gladly give him back. You guys can have him.
Well, as far as I know, he's in the UK at the moment, and
is
for
he?
all I care, they can keep him there.
Please do.
Maybe the island sinks.
Hey, Geek Hero.
Good morning, Geek Hero.
Yeah,
How
he
you
was
doing
on.
today?
Hasselhoff was on an episode of the Grand Tour a couple years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
man, he is. Yeah, if he wasn't half in the bag when he was on that episode, then
That's okay. He's been half in the bag since the 90s.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, we have had some crazy bullshit happening here in Germany. In Oberhausen, there was posters in 2014 that said that there would be a live performance of Michael Jackson. He was dead already at the time. So I thought, oh, they're making Thriller and have him on strings and walk him through the thing playing playback songs.
Well, hey, they did that whole thing with Tupac there with the hologram.
Really, that was real?
Yeah, they did a
They do
hologram. It
that
was
with
unreleased music,
Tupac,
wasn't it?
Elvis, Michael Jackson. They all went on world tours as holograms.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nothing is sacred.
Yeah, but Scott Kidd was smart. He
True.
told Michael he told Michael he can keep the kids.
Well, let's see here. All right, we've got about 20 minutes until Saturday morning's cartoons start up. Let me go ahead
Wait,
and
what? We have Saturday? Damn.
put that back in the chat.
Oh, right. Cards Against Humanity. Sure, it's Saturday. Ugh.
It is Saturday.
It's almost lunchtime.
Yeah, if you don't work and you are awake at strange times, you completely forget the days.
True.
And dates.
Well, who won cards last night?
Chris Knight.
Oh, okay.
I made the first round, Dandelion Fluff made the second round, I think, and Chris Knight the third round. And then we got bad cards.
Well, there had to be something that tipped it in Chris's favor other than his ego. I mean,
Yeah, but it also means that he won the season.
great. Feed his ego more. Because I'm the one who has to go see him in person.
Exactly.
You're sure you bring a few paddles for him.
Do you get to bring him a celebratory ribs?
No way. That'd be too nice.
And that after I had... Sorry.
Tomorrow.
And that's after I had this wonderful speech in the beginning where I said, I know exactly what JJ would have said. He would have said, Mar, you are a wonderful person, and I totally want Dandelion Fluff to win. And
I'll be right back.
but no one was listening to me. Or JJ for that. But yeah, we had a special guest coming yesterday, and then an hour before we started, she had to cancel because her computer broke. And I was so fucking nervous because of it, I couldn't even sleep. And now she's probably with us for the next time or somewhere next year. But I hope I get it over with so I actually can see that she also is just a normal human being, and I don't have to be nervous around her. But then again, Captain Trek invited her here as well, so who knows? Maybe she shows up here too.
Who?
Mary.
Well, yeah, I'm going to extend the invitation. I mean, she will. Or won't. It just all depends.
Oh, well, I think the problem is that you really are very early, if I get that right. Or streaming very early. So, some people like to sleep in. Sundays, probably. So, right after church.
Uh-huh.
Unless you are streaming during church. Then don't go to church. Watch Captain Trek. Church is not that important. Church is not that important. And probably not as much fun as being here on the panel or in the chat, for that matter.
Well, certainly not as full as many double entendres, that's for sure.
And who knows what we will come up with in the future. I mean, there is so much things we can talk about. At the moment, Santa Inc. is coming to life, and everyone hates it because of the bullshit they pulled off. And Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman are trying to defend it by attacking the people, as they always do.
How did Seth Rogen become famous? He's just a stoner.
I think he was in. I think his first movie was the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think.
That's not even good.
Idea.
I can't remember anything of any quality that he was actually in.
Well, if I would have the money, I would start to make one of those old World War II movies. I would cast Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman as a Jewish couple. And I would Alec Baldwin hunt them. And I also would like to get the same armorer that they had on Rust, just to make it more fun. And completely improvised. So no text, no nothing. They can do whatever they want. And if Alec Baldwin accidentally shoots someone, it's just an accident. Not anyone's failure at all.
Oh, here it is. He was on. I never watched this, but apparently it was a big deal in the early 2000s geek culture. He was on that show called Freaks and Geeks.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that one.
Yeah, it actually had a decent number of people who have gone on to do some decent things, but nothing huge.
Yeah.
There's like John Francis Daly, who went on to be in Bones. James Franco was in that show. Jason Segel was in it. Busy Phillips. Let's see anybody else that stands out that's in this list. And Linda Cardellini. But yeah, Seth Rogen was in it, and I guess that was enough to get him some more screen time. But yeah, he's about. Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen in every movie he is in, and unfortunately, unlike the likes of what's his name there, super tall guy from Jurassic Park,
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum is a lot more interesting to watch being Jeff Goldblum than is Seth Rogen.
And Scott, to be fair, Alec Baldwin is kind of stupid in that regard. I mean, he says, "Oh, someone handed me a loaded gun. I didn't know that." Every actor should know that they have to check the guns themselves.
Oh well, we were talking about this when not long after the incident happened. We, meaning some friends of mine, we're all firearms owners, and in Canada, that means you take some serious, you take courses and you get a license, and safety is a big
Yep.
deal. And we're just looking at it going, why in the world are all actors that have to
Stupid.
deal with firearms? Well, that there's that,
There's that.
but why are all actors that are going to work with firearms, fake or otherwise, not required to take safety courses? Like, because you're the last person that's touching it, so it's your job.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna have
Adam
to
Baldwin said they have to do that, and Adam Baldwin also said that he never would point a gun at someone that he is not willing to shoot.
Oh, so he was just abiding by one of the first rules of firearms, right? Never point your firearm at something you're not willing to destroy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Adam Baldwin, even if he's not from the Baldwin family. But Adam, he was as all the shit with Alec happened, he was like, yeah, well, we get this training, we know we have to check the weapons, and we know not to point at the people. That's why it always looks so stupid in movies when we target over their heads or miles away from them, so we do not accidentally shoot them, which is because of Brendan Lee and Bruce Lee and
Yeah.
whoever else it happened to.
Well, the big one that is kind of one of those things that people need to be more aware of is that blanks aren't safe.
Oh, absolutely, they're not safe.
There's that one idiot that put it was a revolver, I think, put it up to his head and pulled the trigger, thinking it was a gag.
John Eric Hexum.
Yeah, freaking shattered his skull.
Wow.
Yeah. Blew his fucking head off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just from the shockwave.
Yeah, well, you can see that on YouTube videos where people use blanks to shoot at watermelons, and they completely gets obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But hey, what good is there, teaching firearm safety to people, in two of the most well-armed countries in the world? Why would we ever want to do that?
They should know it by nature.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was looking at my fishing license yesterday, and I still have, and on there, it still has my firearms permit, number. It's like, why would I need this on a fishing permit unless I'm going to go out and shoot fish?
Yeah, because that doesn't work unless you're using a handgun, right? Because the Mythbusters did that whole thing on shooting into water.
Oh yeah.
After they did that episode way back when they were shooting into the pool, that has so ruined movies where they kill anybody underwater with rifles. My brain just goes, oh.
Which still depends on the rifle.
Well, it's got to shoot slow, because if it shoots
Exactly.
fast, it just vaporizes the round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows grenades are the best way to fish.
That's true. The problem with grenade fishing, though, is that you can't throw the small ones back.
Yeah.
Well, if you take lime, if you have, one of those big old pickle jars, those big gallon ones, you put lime in it, and then you put some water in it, you screw the cover on tight, and you drop it to the bottom of the lake, and boom! And then most of the fish will float up to the top because, there's not so much impact that it's going to,
Right.
well, here we go. No, so long as you don't mind a little shrapnel in your meat.
Why would you use splinter grenades?
I don't know. Why would you?
That shrapnel comment reminded me of that scene from the third Back to the Future movie when he comes back with the rabbit, and then they're eating it, and he's pulling shot pellet out of the rabbit meat.
Well,
I don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think anybody around here has ever eaten a goose or a duck without, having to spit out some shot from time to time.
Yeah.
Did they switch in the States, or at least, well, it would be per state, just the same as hunting is done per province up here. But has the big shift been made down there to use steel shot for duck hunting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, the conservatives are so worried about, I don't mean, Republicans, I mean conservatives are so worried that, we're going to kill all the fish with all the lead in the... it's like, shut the fuck up,
Yeah. Well, I heard that California had planned on banning lead ammunition in general at some point in the future.
Well, California's pretty much banned lead in everything.
That also would be stupid.
You always get, you always see these things. This product is known to cause cancer in California.
Yeah, yeah. With the AVE on YouTube, if you guys have ever seen his channel, he's from British Columbia, and he always says it that way. Whenever he does like an unboxing video, he says known to cause cancer in the state of California every time.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt.
And then once in a while, he likes to mix it up and goes, "It's California in the state of cancer."
Oh.
Scott says we should eat some Asian carp and shut the fuck up.
Living in California may cause cancer. Well, yeah, probably. Oh, well, as much as I like continuing going on, I'm going to be going over to Resolute Germs. I do encourage everybody to check out what Dr. Alex has coming up today. He is a featured channel today. If you're not subscribed to him, please do. I'm going over to Resolute Germs channel for Saturday morning cartoons. I will go ahead and post that link one more time. Would appreciate anyone who likes Saturday morning cartoons. Go on over, check it out, and give them a sub. And with that, I'm going to close things down. Again, I'd like to thank everybody who's been on the panel and who's been in the chat. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
You too.